Welcome back to Only Talk Sports. And tonight we're at the epitome of March Madness, the Final Four between the Miami Hurricanes and the UConn Huskies. It is crazy. We already had a massive result earlier. Florida Atlantic and San Diego State. That game went down to the wire, back and forth. Florida Atlantic led most of the second half, but San Diego State found a way to win at the end on a game-winning jump shot. That was a crazy game, a crazy result. Just shows exactly what March Madness is all about. You've got San Diego State in the national championship game, and yes, they are a 5 seed. So they're not your average Cinderella. They're not exactly what you're expecting, from a Cinderella. But San Diego State's a smaller school. They've never been here before, and they're in the national championship game. And Florida Atlantic was one bucket away from being there, one stop away. So it just goes to show you in college basketball, in March Madness, if you have a team that's capable of going on a run, if you have the coach that can get the job done, you never know what's going to happen. You just got to believe that you can do it. And if you go on a big run and win some games, you never know. You might be the team that can go all the way. But we've got Miami and UConn tonight. Both of these teams, they're not your average blue bloods. Now, obviously, UConn is way more of a blue blood. They have 4 national championships, but they haven't been here in many years. Miami's a team that's never been in this situation before. They've never been to the Final Four before. But Jim Larrañaga, he took George Mason to the Final Four. So he has had the experience in this situation. And I think that you look at someone like Jim Larrañaga, the amount of experience that he's had as a head coach, I think it will really bode well for Miami in this game. They're great, with their guards getting to the bucket, getting to the rim, and Miami makes tough shots. So I think Miami has a really good chance to win. And what we've seen in March Madness, you never know who's going to win. Even when you expect a team to win, you think the favorite has, an easy chance to get a win. Doesn't always mean that's the case. You look at UConn, a lot of people are pegging UConn to already be the team that's going to win it all with good reason, because UConn is a fantastic basketball team. They've been dominating in March Madness. They've won all their games by 15-plus points. They look unbeatable right now. But UConn is definitely beatable. Every basketball team is beatable. And I think that UConn is by far the favorite to win it all this year right now. But they're going to have to get by a tough Miami team. And I think that Dan Hurley's done a fantastic job with his team, because you look at UConn. Earlier on in the year, they had a rough skid. They were really struggling, but then they started to get things figured out, and they were playing better basketball down the stretch of the season, and that really helped out Dan Hurley's team build momentum towards March Madness. Sometimes when you look at a team, when they start playing good basketball, when it counts, right when March Madness is coming around the corner, that definitely helps out a team. And you look at UConn, they were playing great basketball down the stretch of the season, and they've been dominating, all over the place, down the stretch, and they in the tournament have been amazing. UConn, the only team that's won all their games by this much, and then, like I said, they look unbeatable, but you never know. Miami could have the tools to get the job done. They have a lot of guards. UConn has the bigs and Adama Sanogo and Donovan Kleeman, which will be really tough for Miami to stop, but Miami definitely has a plethora of guards, so it should be interesting. But the game is tipping off, and UConn has the basketball first. 19:50 to go in the first half, and UConn with the ball. Adama Sanogo with it at the top of the key. He swings it down low, out to the outside, and UConn for 3. What a shot. 3-0 Huskies, and that's definitely the way UConn's been playing all tournament. Jordan Hawkins, he has been on fire this season, averaging 17 points per game. He could be a potential first-round draft pick, and that was a big shot by Jordan Hawkins. UConn with a 3-0 lead. Miami basketball, 19:20 to go in the first. Jordan Miller kicks to Isaiah Wong, who's been incredible this March Madness. He's had one or two rough games, but for the most part, he has been really solid this tournament. Now Nigel Pack with the ball, the Kansas State transfer, and he almost hits a ridiculous 2, but UConn with the rebound. Right now, you definitely see hustle early. There was incredible hustle in the earlier games. San Diego State kept getting offensive rebounds. That was huge. But Alex Caravan misses a 3 in the corner for UConn, but Adama Sanogo on the block. But he gets blocked from behind by Jordan Miller. What a block. Isaiah Wong down the floor, and Isaiah Wong lays it up and in, but it does not go in. But Miami with the offensive rebound. Both these teams are so fast. Wooga Poplar with the basketball. He almost turned it over. Now it's down to Norchad. Omier is going to be battling with Adama Sanogo all night long. Omir's trying to go up, and Omier misses a crazy layup, but he almost gets the offensive rebound, but it is off of Miami. UConn will have the basketball, but again, in that first game, San Diego State kept out hustling Florida Atlantic, getting offensive rebounds, and that helped them come back and win the game. And I think if you look at this game as well, I think UConn is going to have to find a way to out-hustle Miami, be able to get those offensive rebounds because they have the size advantage. Because if they don't, Florida Atlantic had a 7-foot center in Vlad Golden, but San Diego State kept getting the offensive rebounds. UConn turns the basketball over. Miami with the ball, and Isaiah Wong gets fouled. And now Miami will have the ball coming into the inbounds, but a really fast start to this game. It's only 3-0. UConn leading over Miami, but you wouldn't be able to tell by the way both teams are playing. There's a lot of action right now. Both teams are running the floor. You could definitely tell this is a Final Four type game with the amount of hustle that we're seeing. But Nigel Pack with the ball. He kicks to Norchad Omier over to Isaiah Wong. And Miami's a really deep team. UConn probably has more depth overall, but Miami has a lot of depth in their own right. Jordan Miller in the corner for three, and Jordan Miller's three is short in the corner. Andre Jackson with the rebound for UConn. He's trying to drive kicks to Tristan Newton. And Adama Sanogo thinks about the three, and he knocks it down. Adama Sanogo can hit threes. He's actually shown the capability this season that he can knock down a three. It's incredible to see his development. And that was a huge shot for UConn. 6-0, and now it's going to make it even harder for Miami to guard, Norchad Omier trying to guard Adama Sanogo because Sanogo can do so much damage outside the paint as well. Luka Poplar misses a two, and Alex Caravan with the rebound. UConn with a great start to this game, 6-0. Andre Jackson kicks to Tristan Newton, and Newton's driving into the lane, and Newton misses a two, and Norchad Omier with the rebound. So Miami catches a break there, 17 to go in the first, but Miami needs a bucket. Just get on the board. You don't want to hang at 0 forever. Isaiah Wong loses the basketball. Steal, UConn ball. Adama Sanogo kicks to Andre Jackson. And Sanogo, he shoots another three, and he knocks it down. Adama Sanogo with two big threes, 9-0 UConn. That is bad news for Miami. Adama Sanogo hitting big shots from the top of the key. 16:40 to go in the first. What a shot by Sanogo. He's got 6 points, both from three, something he doesn't do that often, but he can shoot the ball. And Jordan Miller was driving in for Miami. It looks like it might be a goaltend on Adama Sanogo. But Sanogo with the two big threes. He's got a nice stroke. Definitely looks like an NBA-level center if you can knock down threes like that. But, yeah, they do call a goaltend on Adama Sanogo. So Miami does get the layup. Jordan Miller gets the first 2 points for Miami. 9-2 UConn. 16:20 to go in the first. But Andre Jackson with the basketball. Kicks over to Jordan Hawkins, and he bricks a three. You've got a brick. Between the backboard and the rim, Jordan Hawkins, he had a big three to start the game for UConn, but he bricked his second three, and Miami will have the basketball. That is crazy. It's so hard to brick a three. You have to have the absolute perfect shot for that to happen. But Nigel Pack has the ball now. Had a really great season for Miami. Now kicks to Wong over to Omier. But Miami's just such a quick basketball team. It will be tough for UConn to defend, and they've done well so far. Jordan Miller kicks outside. Luka Poplar for three, and he misses. It's short. But Jordan Miller with the offensive rebound. Again, talking about that hustle. That's what San Diego State did before Atlanta. They just out-hustled him, getting the offensive rebound. And Isaiah Wong drives into the lane, and he draws a foul. So 15:46 to go in the first. 9-2 UConn lead in the Final Four. What a fast start for the UConn Huskies. Miami still trying to settle in, but Adama Sanogo with two big threes. And that is definitely something that Dan Hurley really likes to see right there. Dan Hurley is a great coach, and UConn's 29-8, 13-7 in the Big East this season. They've had a great year. And I think Adama Sanogo hitting some threes the way he is, I think it's definitely going to potentially raise his draft stock. I don't know if he's going to go pro or not, but he has definitely improved. He's a really good center. Miami's 29-7, 15-5 in the ACC. Jim Larinaga, again, has had a lot of success in the tournament in the past. But Miami all the way to the Final Four for the first time. It should be very interesting to see what happens. But Jeff is here. Thanks for being here, Jeff. He says, hey, Jeffrey, I'm here. Let's party, baby. Yeah, it's the Final Four. You can't beat it. UConn, Miami. We just saw a fantastic finish between San Diego State and Florida Atlantic. San Diego State winning on a last-second shot with 1 second to break Florida Atlantic's heart. That was horrible for the Owls. What a terrible ending for them, but a fantastic ending for San Diego State. What a game. And hopefully this game will be just as good as that one. Thanks for being here, Jackson. He says, what's up, Only Talk Sports Nation? It's too bad we won't get an in-state national title between Miami and Florida Atlantic. It stinks with that. That would have been really cool, but still, whatever happens in this game, we're going to have a great national championship game, it seems like. March Madness has delivered all year this season. It's been great all month. It's been awesome, and now we're into April, and it's just great as well. Happy April Fool's Day, everybody, as well. April Fools, but it's no joke. We got the Final Four on right now, and it is definitely delivering so far. Jeff says, what a game that was, though. Yeah, it was awesome. And Jackson says, sure it was, with the buzzer beater by San Diego State. That was insane. I mean, I think you look at that game, it looked like Florida Atlantic had it the whole way. But then San Diego State with the shot at the end, just incredible. It just goes to show if you keep fighting and you keep grinding, even if you're down the whole game, you can come back and win. Jeff says UConn is on fire. For sure. Especially Adama Sanogo. I mean, hitting 2 threes, the center. I mean, I know we live in a day and age where centers hit threes. You see it all the time in the NBA. But I think when you see a guy that does not normally take threes, starts shooting threes and he's making them, it just shows the progress, the development that he has. Because Adama Sanogo used to never shoot threes. It's incredible to see. And it just goes to show you can develop, you can learn to shoot that shot. You just gotta have to build the confidence, get used to shooting it, get used to the stroke. And if you can really be a good player, even, shooting threes if you're not good at it. Edwards here. Thanks for being here, Edward. He says, yo, Jeffrey, thanks for being here. And Edwards says as well, UConn center took 2-set shot for 3. That's wild. I mean, wide open. I mean, to be fair, Miami didn't guard him that well, but still, you got to be able to make the shot. And he was wide open, but he hit the shots. And that's why UConn has the lead right now, 9-2. But right now, they're showing UConn's dominance this tournament. They've blown out every team they've played. The closest game was a 15-point win over St. Mary's that they just basically cruised to victory. They blew out Arkansas. They blew out Gonzaga. It's been incredible watching UConn. They had a big win over Iona in the first round. But can they do it again to get to the national championship game? But Isaiah Wong, he's at the free throw line, and he knocks down the first. So it's 9-3. UConn leading over Miami, 15:46 to go in the first half. Isaiah Wong, he's been a bit, inconsistent at times this tournament, but when he's on, he is dangerous. And he just hit 2 free throws there, so that might get him going. It's 9-4. Miami still trying to settle in. And you've got Adama Sanogo now on the block for UConn. What a pass inside, and it's 11-4. And again, he can do that too. He might be able to make the 3, but he can also go down low and dominate on the glass like normal. Edwards said, but set shots, he didn't even do a jump shot. Absolutely right. That's another thing. Like you said, he didn't jump. That's the point you're trying to make for sure. I mean, it's incredible. He's got power, though. He doesn't have to jump. It's crazy to see because usually you do have to hop, but like you said, he didn't even hop. That is a great point, Edward. And it's going to be really interesting to see if he takes any more threes and how, Miami's going to guard that. But right now, UConn and Miami are battling on the glass. Miami tried to do a layup, but they couldn't get it to fall. But I think it's going to stay with the Hurricanes. But a really good pass from Tristan Newton, the ECU transfer, down to Adama Sanogo. And Sanogo had a really good layup. He's got 8 points for UConn out of the 11 that they have. But it's 11-4. Miami basketball, Nigel Pack. 14:50 to go in the first. Nigel Pack tries to lay it up off the glass. Good defense from UConn. And the Huskies with the rebound. Jordan Hawkins bringing the ball down the floor. Now over to Naheem Aline, who's in the game. Tristan Newton with the ball, trying to make a move on Isaiah Wong. Has to reset by passing to Alex Caravan. And Caravan swings it back to Newton. 14:30 to go in the first. 10 seconds on the shot clock. 5 seconds on the shot clock. UConn's got to make a move. Tristan Newton with the basketball swings to Naheem Aline. This is a broken possession. 1 second on the shot clock, and Naheem Aline airballs to 3. That was a really bad possession for UConn. They can never get set. Good defense from Miami. Dan Hurley not too happy. 14:20 to go in the first, and Donovan Klingman's into the game. And Donovan Klingman, 7'2". He's a 7'2" center that comes off the bench for UConn. That is a dangerous weapon to have, a guy like that coming off the bench, and he's a really solid player. In Miami, that might be a mismatch nightmare. If they can use their speed to put Donovan Klingman in conflict, then I think that will really help out Miami. But if Donovan Cleveland can just use his size and dominance to overpower Miami, it could be tough for the Hurricanes while he's in the game. But right now, Bensley Joseph's been inserted for Miami. He kicks to Wooga Poplar, and Poplar misses the three. But then Joseph with the offensive rebound, he misses a shot. And another tap out by Jordan Miller. Isaiah Wong with the ball. Miami's just hustling on the ground, trying to get the basketball, but UConn does end up with it. Joey Calcaterra to Tristan Newton, and Newton swings over in the corner to Naheem Aline. He almost loses it out of bounds. Newton shoots a deep three, and he knocks it down. What a pass by Naheem Aline. The ball was going out of bounds, and he was able to save the ball from going out of bounds. And a pinpoint pass to Tristan Newton. He hits a 30-foot three. 14-4 UConn. What a start for the Huskies. And a foul on UConn on Isaiah Wong's drive. But Tristan Newton with the deep three. What a shot. Nothing but nylon. UConn is really stroking the ball from three early in this game. They're really confident right now. 13:30 to go in the first half, and it's 14-4. UConn has a 10-point lead over Miami, and the Hurricanes with only 4 points and over 6 minutes of game action. They're still trying to get involved in this game. They're just looking a little, flat right now on the offensive end. They're hustling. You got to give them credit there. They're really hustling, but they just cannot get into their set offense right now with the way UConn's playing on the defensive end. But Miami misses another shot, and UConn has the basketball. Newton down to Klingman. And the refs, I think, call it off of UConn potentially, or is it off? I think it might be off Miami. They did call it off Miami. UConn will still have the basketball. I definitely see what Tristan Newton was trying to go for to get to Klingman down the floor, but sometimes you're a little too opportunistic with that. Sometimes you just pull it back, not make that pass, and just kind of set the ball up well for your big down low. But they were trying to run the floor. UConn's really good at running the floor, just like Miami. And I think they call an offensive foul on UConn on the inbound. So Miami will now inbound the basketball, 14-4, 13-10 to go in the first. So that's really tough for UConn right there. They had the basketball, but they turn it over. Miami has it now. 13 to go in the first. Isaiah Wong with it. Wong's hit a couple free throws, but besides that, he hasn't done much so far in this game. And overall, looking at Miami, they still look a little rattled on the offensive end, trying to find their way. Wong with the ball with 10 seconds on the shot clock. He's trying to drive again. He takes the step back three, and he knocks it down. He's got a really nice three-point shot. And when he gets going, it's really tough for anyone to stop him. He's a great shooter. It's 14-7. That's definitely a shot Miami desperately needed. 12:20 to go in the first. Joey Calcaterra with it. Swings back to Tristan Newton, the ECU transfer. And Tristan Newton being hounded by two Miami defenders. Down low to Donovan Klingman. And Donovan Klingman for 2 and 1. And that is the mismatch nightmare for Miami. 7'2" Donovan Klingman down low. What a pass. Down low by Alex Karaban. And you've got Donovan Klingman. He gets the ball right at the rim, and he gets fouled by Harlan Beverly, and he's going to be going to the line for the and one. It's 16-7 UConn, 12:19 to go in the first half, and Klingman, who's averaging 7 points, 5 rebounds, and over 2 blocks this NCAA tournament, shooting 70% from the field because most of his shots are down low, and he has the free throw, and he does miss. So it's 16-7, UConn with a 9-point lead. The Huskies have dominated so far in this game. Miami still trying to settle in, it seems. But Isaiah Wong just hit a big three. He kicks it out to Bensley Joseph. Now Miami's driving into the lane, and they miss the layup. That's a really tough shot because you're having to go over 7'2" Donovan Klingman, which is really hard to do. But Miami with the steal, UConn lazy pass, and Miami down the floor, and Harlan Beverly for 2 off the bench. Miami has depth. That's a really good play by Harlan Beverly. He telegraphed the pass, went down the floor, and laid it in. That was a really nice play. So 16-9. UConn with a 7-point lead, and Miami almost with another steal. But UConn will keep the basketball. And we have another TV timeout. UConn up 16-9. It's the under 12 timeout, but a really good start to this game for UConn. But the Huskies not really pulling it away, not blowing this game open right now. Miami's trying to hang in there. But UConn definitely holding a steady lead. And to Edwards' point again, based off of Adama Sanogo's 2 big threes, that really set up UConn well, and it's just been rolling ever since. And as Jeff says, what a pass and a sweet 3. That was a great shot and a great pass. Because the thing about shooting threes, if you get the basketball in a bad spot, like if you have to reach over and grab it, or if it's above your head and you're trying to pinpoint the pass and then shoot it, your shot is going to have a much harder chance of going in because you're going to have to reset and then make the shot. But if you look at a lot of these, teams that pass really well, and what UConn did right there, saving the ball from going out of bounds, pinpointing the pass to Tristan Newton right in his hand, and he was able to knock down that 3. That's exactly what you want in a pass. You want the pass to be right in the shooting pocket so you can rise up and shoot the 3, and your probability of making the shot goes up by a large degree. If you're not doing that, if you're having to reach over to be able to get the pass, there's a bigger chance that you're not going to be able to make the shot. So UConn's doing a really good job passing the ball to get those good shots and making those threes. Miami's a great passing team as well, but right now Miami's just kind of struggling a little bit. They're not passing really well. I think UConn's pressure on the defensive end is really getting to them, but Miami's starting to ratchet up the defense as well on UConn. I don't think the Huskies have scored in a couple of possessions, but it's going back and forth right now. Both teams are definitely scrapping early in this game, trying to figure out the other team. It's 2 different styles. Even though both these teams like to run the floor, UConn does rely on big centers, post play, as well as guards, where Miami is way more guard oriented. So it will be interesting to see how that progresses in the game for both teams, how they're matching up. But right now it does look like UConn has the advantage so far with Donovan Klingman and Adama Sanogo. They're really dominating Miami on the glass, and they're hitting big shots, and they're putting a lot of pressure on Miami's players because they're a lot shorter. If Miami can find a way to wear down UConn as the game goes along, Miami's a big second-half team. And I think the reason why Miami's a big second-half team is because they're really guard-oriented. Guards last longer than centers. Centers get tired. Guards can last. And when you're in like the last 5 minutes of a game, Isaiah Wong and Nigel Pack are still going to be running around like they are right now, trying to find their way. And UConn, while they're scrapping right now, they'll have a much harder time doing that as the game goes along because they're going to start getting tired. And that's where Miami, if they're like down by 8 to 10 points, I think at the end of the game, toward the end, I think that they can find a way to get back in the game and potentially be able to win at the end. But it will be interesting to see the way UConn is playing right now. They're definitely looking like the more prepared team. They're ready for this moment. They're ready for this game. They believe they can win. But as we've seen in March Madness, it's not the team that starts out well. It's the team that finishes well and has the lead when it matters at the end of the game. But it is going to be interesting to see. It's been a really good start to this Final Four game. A 16-9 lead for the UConn Huskies. 11:41 to go in the first half. They're showing the Hurley family right now. Bobby Hurley's in attendance. He was in the tournament. He's the Arizona State head coach, but the Sun Devils did lose. But UConn's still alive, and they're showing Adama Sanogo. He was 1 of 9 from 3 in their previous 11 games. He's 2 of 2 tonight. And UConn with a deep 35-foot 3, and it rims in and out. Miami with the rebound, only down by 7, and Nigel Pack in transition where he's dangerous. Kicks to Bensley Joseph. What a reverse by Bensley Joseph. He somehow went up and under. That was an incredible lay. I don't know how he hit that shot. 16-11 UConn. 11 to go in the first. That was a ridiculous layup. But now Naheem Aline, the Virginia Tech transfer for UConn, has the basketball. He's trying to drive in, and he pulls up for 2, and he does miss the shot. Joey Calcaterra tried to get the rebound and lay it back in, but he was a little bit short, and he does foul Miami going down the floor. So Miami now starting to creep back in this game. It's only a 5-point deficit now for the Hurricanes, and they have the basketball. So it seems like Miami definitely avoided UConn's early rush to try to blow this game open. It does seem like Miami's definitely hanging in there. So 10:50 to go in the first, and you've got Nigel Pack with the basketball. And Nigel Pack, he has struggled so far in this game. He's not gotten a lot going, but it doesn't take much One big shot from him, and he can get going in a heartbeat. But Jordan Miller with a fadeaway, too, and he does miss the shot. And UConn with the rebound. Miami tried to tap it back out, but the Huskies do pull the rebound down. UConn with the ball and a turnover. Miami with active hands. Jordan Miller swinging it down the floor to Harlan Beverly for the big dunk. 16-13 UConn, 10-15 to go in the first. And the Huskies lead is down to 3. Miami on a big run here to get back in this game. 9-2 run for the Hurricanes. 10 to go in the first. UConn up 3. And now down to Adama Sanogo, who's back in the game. That's your bread and butter for UConn. Get it down low to him. He was wide open. It's 18-13 UConn. Really good play by UConn. Sanogo with 10. Just settle it down and get a nice, easy layup. Miami's still trying to find their way right now. Nigel Pack with the ball. They're starting to settle in, though. As Jeff points out, he says Miami is settling down. I definitely think so, but they do miss a 3 there. UConn with the ball. Sanogo with it at the top of the key. I don't think he's going to shoot another 3. Joey Calcaterra kicks to Hassan Jara, the Texas A&M transfer. He doesn't even play that much, and he's a really solid player. UConn is a deep team. Joey Calcaterra down to Sanogo on the block to Naheem Aline. Hassan Jara with it to Joey Calcaterra, and he misses the 3, but that was really good passing by UConn. Adama Sanogo tried to get the offensive rebound. He could not get it. So Miami with the ball. 9 to go in the first. And Miami misses the shot. And they call a foul on UConn. Jordan Miller with the 2 and 1. 18-15. That was a lot of scrapping down low. But Miami was able to go up strong with it in transition, get the layup inside, taking contact on an incredible offensive rebound. Miami is relentless on the glass, which is really interesting, again, considering the fact that UConn has the big size advantage. Miami's still doing everything they can on the glass. They're showing Jordan Miller. He had 27 points against Texas in the Elite Eight. He was 7-7 from the field, 13-13 from the free throw line. He had a perfect game, and he hits the shot there. So it's 18-16, hitting that free throw, and Miami's only down by 2. Norchad Omir's back in the game for Miami. UConn had a really nice start to this game, but it's definitely starting to settle down a little bit for Miami, as Jeff points out. UConn starting to slow down a bit on the offensive end. Where's the offense going to come from outside of Sanogo? Calcaterra almost loses the ball. He gets it back, and he's short on the shot. Sanogo with the offensive rebound, and he gets fouled going up. So it looks like he'll have some free throws. So, again, UConn using their size advantage as well to get some offensive rebounds. But UConn sometimes does struggle on the offensive end besides Sanogo. That's when they were losing games in Big East play. This tournament, they have had no such problems. In this tournament, they've been blowing out every team because they've had so much teamwork from the rest of the teammates. They've been doing a great job. All the players are getting involved in the offensive end. But so far in this game, it's kind of reverted back to the Big East level UConn, where when they were losing games, it's a lot of Sanogo, and some of the other players are really struggling from the floor right now. And Sanogo just missed the first free throw. 8:37 to go in the first. Sanogo at the line for the second free throw. He goes up and he knocks it down. So it's 19-16 UConn. 8:37 to go in the first. Miami with the basketball. And Sanogo has 11 of UConn's 19 points. Miami's really doing a good job slowing down UConn's other players, which is definitely, I think, their strategy. They don't mind if Sanogo gets his, but they want to slow down their other players. They're doing a good job of that so far. But Nigel Pack, he shoots a 3, and he was not even open. It was a step back, and again, he only needs a sliver of space, and now this game's tied. UConn's early rush is over, and Miami has now tied the game. It is a new game. Like it just started, 19 all, 8 to go in the first. Tristan Newton with it for UConn, trying to get something going on the offensive end. He's driving and kicks to Joey Calcaterra, and that's a good play. You didn't use Sanogo. Nice pass by Tristan Newton. He's definitely the biggest facilitator for UConn. But Nigel Pack, he goes up, and his layup goes in and out. He had a really good path to the basket, and he drove all the way in, but he misses the layup. And Sanogo travels for UConn on the other end. He travels. That's tough. Jeff says, what a 3 by Pack. That was a great shot. I mean, that's the thing that Miami does that makes them so dangerous, is because they hit threes that a lot of teams can't make. Because a lot of people talk about the quality of shot. You know, some teams have players that they have to be set, or they have to be open, or they have to have a really nice pass going their way for them to knock down the three. Not Miami. Nigel Pack and Isaiah Wong, in particular, are two guards that do not need a lot of space. They don't even need the shot to be quality for it to go in. Does it always mean they're going to make those shots? No, but they have the capability of doing so. And since they have the capability of doing so, it puts so much pressure on the other team because they have to account for that. You have to account for the fact that Miami's guards are capable of making shots like that. So since they can, you have to be able to guard them close, and then that's when they can beat you off the dribble, get the ball to North Chatham here on the block, or just drive in, get fouled, and that's why Miami shoots a lot of free throws. Isaiah Wong, Jordan Miller, these guys get to the line a lot. Nigel Pack as well. That's what makes Miami dangerous. And with Nigel Pack hitting that big shot from three, it's definitely going to make UConn have to guard them even harder, and then that's when they're dangerous off the dribble. Now, you look at UConn, though. UConn has definitely had an advantage early on in this game based on the fact that Adama Sanogo hit those two set threes. That was huge because now you have to account for that. You have to account for Sanogo knocking down the three. Now you have to account for Sanogo in general at all times on the floor, not just guard him in the paint. But the issue is for, Miami with Sanogo, it's the size advantage. Donovan Cleveland as well. You have to guard them because they're so tall. But see, UConn's other players aren't making shots, and that's where it helps Miami. Because if UConn's other players aren't making shots, then that puts a lot more pressure on Sanogo, on Klingman. And if that happens, it makes UConn much more one-dimensional. And then Miami can kind of get away with maybe not guarding the other players as hard because they're not making shots. And then you can start double-teaming Sanogo more. That hasn't gotten to that point yet, but UConn is struggling a bit from their other players. I think Tristan Newton is the key for UConn. He's going to have to facilitate at a high level. He's going to have to keep doing the things necessary for the Huskies, passing the ball and getting the other players on UConn's team in good positions to make easy buckets, to settle them down, to be able to hit some more shots later on in this game. But Miami right now, even though they were down early, they're kind of having that advantage right now with the way the game is going because they are hitting those tough shots. They're getting more contributions from more players, which gives you the confidence that they'll be able to continue to do that as the game goes along. UConn's not really giving that confidence right now. It's a lot of Sanogo and not much else. So we will have to see. It will be interesting as the game goes along. Can UConn start to get contributions from their other players, or will they continue to have to rely on Sanogo a lot? And can Miami keep hitting tough shots? Because that's what's made them a key team. And they've been money this tournament because of the fact that they've been able to hit tough shots. And they're starting to do that right now in this game. They've hit a couple tough shots, and that's what's gotten them back in this one. But UConn right now with a 2-point lead over Miami, 21-19, 7:38 to go in the first half, and Nigel Pack has the basketball at the Final Four logo. Still can't believe we're in the Final Four right now. March Madness is almost over. It's been great, but Isaiah Wong, he's driving in now. He kicks the Wooga Poplar, and he misses a tough layup, and it's off of Miami, UConn basketball. That was a great drive by Wooga Poplar, but he could not get that shot to fall. They're showing Jim Larinaga back in the past. He was coached by Dave Gavitt at Providence as a player. That's key. Dave Gavitt, obviously the big-time founder of the Big East Conference. They do the Gavitt games, which is really cool. So Jim Larinaga with a big history there. But Tristan Newton driving into the lane, and there you go. He lays it in. That helps out UConn, getting other players involved. And now a block on the other end. Miami misses. Alex Caravan with the nice block. He's a really solid piece for Dan Hurley. Averages around 9 points per game. He can knock down a three. He's a fairly tall player. So that's really good news for UConn that he's playing well on the defensive end. But Tristan Newton with a big layup on the last possession. And now Jordan Hawkins with the basketball. He had a big three early, but he's been kind of cold since. Now Naheem Aline down to Sanogo. And Sanogo driving into the lane with the layup. 25-19 UConn. The Huskies lead back to 6. And still Miami struggling to guard Adama Sanogo right now. Nigel Pack kicks to Isaiah Wong. And Miami has missed 7 layups tonight, and you got to make your layups. Those are some of the easier shots you're going to get. Some of them have been contested, but you got to make them. And Nigel Pack just threw up a 3, and he missed. UConn rebound. 10 field goals for the Huskies, 9 assists. That's really good news for UConn. They're passing the ball really well, and they're getting some good shots off. And a lot of it due to Tristan Newton. And Tristan Newton kicks to Naheem Aline. Now Jordan Hawkins is driving. He goes up for the layup, and he misses the shot. It was a really nice drive by Jordan Hawkins, but couldn't get it to fall. Isaiah Wong has it for Miami on the other end. He shoots a 3, and he misses. So Miami's threes are starting to not fall. But Norchad Omier, he goes up strong, and he gets blocked from behind. UConn with the basketball. What a block by Adama Sanogo. Again, the size advantage for UConn is really helping them out in this game so far. Will it hold for a full 40? We will have to see. Naheem Aline kicks to Jordan Hawkins down to Sanogo on the left block. He does a spin move on Norchad Omier. He almost loses the basketball. Sanogo does travel. He was being hounded by Omier and Wong, double teamed, and he does travel with it. But what a block by Sanogo on Omier. Definitely has the size advantage. That was a really good block. But it's 25-19 UConn over Miami. 5 to go in the first. Been a fast-moving first half. Not too many fouls called in this first half. Definitely like to see that. You like the fast pace up and down the floor. Isaiah Wong for 2, and his shot goes in and out. And UConn with the rebound. Alex Caravan with the board. He kicks over to Tristan Newton, who's had a good first half, especially facilitating. He gets it to Jordan Hawkins, and Miami has not scored in 3.5 minutes, which is very unusual for them. UConn's definitely playing much better defense the last 4 minutes. Newton driving in, and Newton goes up strong, and he gets fouled. Good strategy by Newton. And Nigel Pack's on the ground a little bit. He looks a little banged up. Hopefully he's okay. Definitely looked like he took a decent hit from Tristan Newton. But Nigel Pack is on his feet, trying to shake it off. Hopefully he is okay. It looks like he'll be able to remain in the game. It looks like he might have took a shot to the face. I'm sure it was incidental contact by Tristan Newton. He went up, and it looks like he did get Nigel Pack a little bit on the face. Wasn't much. He definitely took a little contact. But unfortunately, that's basketball for us. It's not football. It's not football. You can't have that level of physicality, but still, there is some physicality. But Newton with incidental contact, and he was fouled by Pack, and Newton's going to the line. He hits the first. So UConn's leads back up to 7. Miami had got all the way back in the game and tied it, but UConn's starting to build that lead again. And Newton with 6 points, 2 rebounds, and 4 assists. You can't ask for a much better first half from your main ball handler. That's a really solid stat line. And he's going up with the second free throw, and he knocks down both. Free throws are key. Got to make them when they count. UConn now up by 8, 27-19, 4:30 to go in the first half. Nigel Pack still looks a little shaken up, but he has the basketball. UConn's on an 8-0 run. 4:20 to go in the first. Norchad Omier to Nigel Pack. And Nigel Pack's trying to drive, and he gets blocked from behind by Donovan Klingman, 7'2" on 6 foot. That's not a good matchup for Nigel Pack. He's trying to drive. It was a really good play. But then Donovan Klingman just swats that ball to the second row. No chance. He timed that block perfectly. And it looks like a turnover by Miami on the inbounds. UConn will have the basketball up 27-19, 4:17 to go in the first half. And Donovan Klingman really providing some active hands, some active defense for the Huskies, doing a great job off the bench, and we have a timeout. Jeff says, what a game. This one's going to be a thriller. I think so. I mean, right now, UConn's starting to extend the lead a little bit, but I don't really think any lead's really safe in this March Madness. You look at the previous game earlier. Florida Atlantic led by 14 in the second half. And for a large stretch of that second half, it looked like the Owls were going to be the team going to the national championship game. But San Diego State just kept hanging in there, doing everything they possibly could to get back in the game. And then San Diego State, down by 1, hits the clutch shot with 1 second left in the game to win. Kind of reminiscent of Gonzaga-UCLA. Gonzaga was down by 13 on UCLA. They came back and won the game on a Julian Strawther 3. So I think, again, that this March Madness has shown that no lead is safe. So as long as Miami can just hang in this game, hang in there, stay in the game, around 8 to 10 point deficit at the most. You don't want to get down by too much. But if Miami can hang around, then they'll have a really good chance to find a way to beat UConn at the end if they just stick with it. I think that that's the strategy for Miami, specifically if they're not able to take the lead. You just got to hang in the game. Give yourself a chance. And whether you win or lose at the end, that's March Madness for you. Sometimes you hit the big shot and you're moving on. Sometimes you don't, and your dance is over and you're having to go home. And it's tough, especially the further you get. It's so tough because you made it all this way and you were so close, that you felt that you had the chance. And it's always tough when you lose at the end on a buzzer beater like that. I bet Florida Atlantic's players are just still devastated. It's awful to see. But just as sad as it is to see the tears of sadness, it's also seeing the tears of joy of the winning team. And seeing San Diego State's players' faces, the fact that they made the national championship game is incredible. And I'm sure we'll see the same with both these teams tonight, especially if it is a close game that goes down to the wire. Obviously, whoever loses will be sad if they get blown out as well. But there's just something about losing by like 1 point on a buzzer beater that's just, there's nothing like it. It's amazing to see. So sad and awesome one way or the other. But right now in this game, UConn the last couple minutes is definitely asserting their dominance right now with their post players. You look at Adama Sanogo and Donovan Kleeman. They've gotten a couple big blocks last couple minutes. And they're starting to dominate on the glass and on the low block again on the offensive end. That's really good news for UConn. If they can keep that up, that will be really tough for Miami. Miami's been able to avoid foul trouble. Norchad Omiir's not in foul trouble like he was in their last game against Texas, but still, I think that UConn definitely has the advantage right now based on the way the game is being played. But if Miami can settle it down some more again, not get down by too much, then I think Miami can easily get back in this game because they have the players to get the job done. They have the personnel, they have the coaching staff to get the job done. But it will be interesting to see. Based on what we're seeing so far, UConn is definitely, their style of play has looked better so far in this game. But you got to do it for a full 40. Joey Calcaterra with the ball for UConn. Now Tristan Newton with the ball. UConn started on a 14-4 run. Then Miami went on a big 12-0. And now UConn's back on an 8-0 run. And they airball a 3. And the ball is out of bounds. UConn turns the basketball over on an airball. That's a really tough shot right there. I think you look at that play for UConn, Naheem Aline. There's nothing wrong with that shot. You're just trying to, score before the shot clock expires, but you got to get a better possession than that. That's just not a good possession at all. And you look at UConn, there's just too talented of a team to take bad shots like that. But UConn up 27-19 over Miami, and we're at the under 4 timeout. So the first half is almost over. It's getting really interesting right now. Can Miami cut this lead and be about tied at the half? That's where you want to be. You don't want to be down big at the half to be able to have to come back. But so far, it's been a high-level game. Both teams are running the floor well. I do think Miami is struggling to shoot the basketball, but sometimes it is to be expected in big games like this. You're not always going to be able to hit those threes when you're nervous and you have a lot of anxiety. But Miami did a couple big shots. But again, Nigel Pack and Isaiah Wong can get hot at any time. And if they start hitting some big shots, it will definitely put UConn in conflict because they're going to have to guard them really, really close. And then UConn will not be able to stop Miami off the dribble. So it will be interesting to see what happens as this game is progressing. But I think if you're Dan Hurley, UConn's head coach, you definitely got to be happy with what you're seeing from your team. They're doing a great job, with guarding Miami on the defensive end. They're getting a lot of blocks. They're making Miami take tough shots. And fortunately for Dan Hurley's team, they are missing those shots. And then UConn is just dominating on the glass. And Adama Sanogo is having a great first half. So overall, if you're UConn, everything's basically going the way you'd like to see it right now. Jeff says, I still think the game will be close at the end. Me too. Right now, the way this game's going, even though UConn has definitely been the better team so far, I do think you still got to believe that this game will be close at the end. It will be interesting, though. I do think that Miami will have to do a lot better in the second half if they do want to make this a close game because of the way UConn's playing right now. But yes, Miami, I do feel that they will have the capability of getting back in this game at any time. Miami's one of those teams that you just never feel like they're out of the game. Because you look at the Texas game, they were down pretty big in the second half of that one, and they were able to come back and win. I think overall, Miami's just one of those teams built for deficits. They can come back when they're down. A lot of teams, you can be down by 8 to 10 points, and you just feel like there's no way they can get back in it. They can't get enough stops. They just can't make the big shots necessary that they need to be able to get back in the game to win. But Miami's one of those teams built for deficits. I think they can be down 10 points, even with like 6 to go in the game, and still find a way to come back on UConn. It will be tough, but they have the personnel to get it done. UConn right now, 27-19, though. Miami has not scored a point in the last 422. They're really struggling on the offensive end. Jordan Miller has 5 points. Adama Sanogo has 13 points. So you look at UConn, they have 7 turnovers right now, but they also have 9 assists. And UConn is at 4 threes, Miami's at 2. So in basically every category, UConn's doing better than Miami except turnovers. And turnovers aren't the most important stat if you're making shots. And UConn so far has hit more shots than Miami. But the Hurricane have the basketball. After UConn airballed a 3, coming out of the under 4 timeout, Wooga Poplar kicks to North Chad O'Meara. Now Nigel Pack has it. And Miami's driving in with Jordan Miller. He's a really talented forward. He misses a layup, and he gets his own miss and lays it in. 27-21. Really good play by Jordan Miller. You got to follow through on your shot. You might not hit the first one, but you might hit the second one. That was a really good play by Jordan Miller, and it's 27-21. UConn still up 6. 3:10 to go in the first. And you've got Naheem Aline with the basketball. Swings to Tristan Newton. Newton kicks to Alex Caravan, down to Donovan Klingman on the low block, and he kicks to Newton. Newton for 2, and he misses the mid-range jump shot. Now Miami's driving down the floor. Wooga Poplar kicks to Nigel Pack. Pack probably thought about that deep 3, but probably wise not to take that one. Isaiah Wong's driving now. Kicks to North Chad O'Meara. Back to Isaiah Wong, and Wong's driving into the lane, and he misses the shot. That's a shot Isaiah Wong can make. Donovan Klingman with the rebound. And UConn going down the floor again on the other. And Naheem Aline for 3 in the corner. Aline misses, but he gets his own rebound. He goes up strong, and he lays it in. Again, got to follow through on your misses if the opportunity's there. And Naheem Aline doing a really good job right there. 29-21. UConn up by 8. 2:10 to go in the first. Jordan Miller with the basketball. Jordan Miller's trying to drive, but Alex Caravan playing great defense. Now Isaiah Wong's driving in, and he misses the shot. He misses another layup. Miami's really struggled with layups. Donovan Klingman with another rebound. Naheem Aline's trying to drive, and he misses the layup. Both teams missing layups. Now Miami's running the floor again. Isaiah Wong, Miami needs a bucket badly. Wooga Poplar in the corner, and he misses a 3. O'Meara can't get the rebound. UConn ball, Naheem Aline running the floor. He thought about the 3, but he fakes, swings it back out. Probably a smart play. And now Tristan Newton with the ball. 1:30 to go in the first. And now you've got UConn for 3. What a big shot by Joey Calcaterra, who's a really solid bench player for Dan Hurley, averaging 5 points per game. And that's a big 3 there. 32-21 UConn. 1:20 to go in the first. And Miami is not looking too good for them right now. Still tons of time. You'll have a whole second half. But Miami needs a couple big buckets before the half. Jordan Miller, he faked the 3s driving in. Kicks to Nigel Pack. And Nigel Pack for 3. That is a bucket Miami desperately needed. 32-24. Miami only down by 8. 55 seconds to go in the first half. But it's tough sledding right now for the Hurricanes. UConn's doing a great job on both ends of the floor. Tristan Newton trying to drive. Kicks to Naheem Aline. He fakes another 3. Takes a mid-range shot. And that's a nice mid-range shot by Naheem Aline, the Virginia Tech transfer. Good shot. 34-24. Huskies up by 10. 30 seconds to go in the first half. And Miami probably will be well served to hit a big bucket here before they have to at least be down by single digits. Isaiah Wong with the ball. 20 seconds. He gets it to O'Meara down low. And it is off of UConn. 18 seconds to go in the first half. Miami will inbound, but good defense by Donovan Klingman. Not letting O'Meara get the alley-oop. Again, the length of Klingman is ridiculous. 6'7" O'Meara is way shorter than 7'2" Donovan Klingman. It's a whole 7-inch difference. But with 18.9 seconds left in the first half, and you've got Bensley Joseph trying to inbound the basketball. He gets it to Norchad Omier, and Omier trying to drive on Klingman, and it's a turnover. Miami with a turnover. Klingman's size causing Miami fits, and UConn will have the ball with 13 seconds left with a chance to extend this lead to more than 10. And it looks like the Huskies take their use it or lose it timeout, and it's a 10-point lead for the Huskies. Things are looking really good for UConn right now. James Scott says, thanks for being here, James Scott. Yeah, this game is basically over. UConn is not the type of team to fade off and start playing poorly. I spent San Diego State player looked at the end of the game with Florida Atlantic. Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, I think overall, you look at UConn, they are a disciplined team. And they do, a really good job of not having bad moments in games. But I still point back to the way they played at the beginning of Big East play, because all it takes for UConn is for them to revert back to that. And they started that way actually at the beginning of this game, but now other players are getting involved besides Sanogo. It's not all him, and the other players are starting to hit big shots. So I do think that bodes well for UConn. They've been a really great team this tournament, and Miami's just not hitting the shots they've been making all March Madness. They've hit a couple big shots, but it's not enough. With 13.9 to go in this first half, and Dan Hurley is shouting at his team to get set up the way he wants them to. 34-24. UConn up 10. 10 seconds to go in the first half. UConn trying to get another bucket to extend this lead before the half. 3 seconds to go in the first. Outside, Caravan for three, and UConn at the buzzer. Alex Caravan, 37-24, UConn at the half, and that is the absolute worst ending to the first half you could have for Miami. What a big three by Alex Caravan. And UConn holds a 37-24 lead at the half. Caravan got it off with about 0.9 on the clock. And it's nothing but net. I mean, you can't get any more wide open than that. It's like a practice shot. You just have to have the confidence to take and make, and that is exactly what Alex Caravan did on that play. And Jim Larinaga is going to have a long halftime talk with his team to be able to get them back on track. That was tough. James Scott says the winner of this game will win the championship because I think the Aztecs are gassed. To your point, I think San Diego State is really gassed as well. But I do think all of these teams are gassed in a way because you've played so many games. But to your point, looking at San Diego State, they definitely look tired. But I do think overlooking them, saying that they have no chance, is definitely, not out of the question. But I don't think it's a complete certainty either based on what we've seen this March Madness. You never know what's going to happen. But to your point, James Scott, I do think Miami or UConn is such a deep team, and they'll be able to hang with San Diego State's depth as well. And they are a really fatigued team. But San Diego State has a lot of depth. It will just really come down to whoever wins this game. If UConn or Miami's making a lot of shots. Because if they are, then I think that will really put San Diego State in some trouble. Because San Diego State likes to keep the games, a little bit more lower scoring. I think if they play like Miami, and Miami's hitting all the threes, and it's like Miami's like 80 points, and I think San Diego State will have no chance. And UConn can do that as well, especially with their size. I think that Adama Sanogo and Donovan Kleeman could be an issue for Nathan Mensah, and the other post players for San Diego State. That could be a problem. But to your point, I do think the winner of this game will have a much better chance to win. And I think they will also definitely be favored by a few points. But I do think that San Diego State will have a chance. Will they be favored, or will they have a better than 50% chance to win? No, but I do think that they have a shot. They've done a great job all tournament, but to your point, they do look gassed. As James Scott says as well, 13-point lead at the half. Miami had a nice run, but UConn isn't going to make them stay out of the teams having against the Hurricanes. Basically, all Miami, has to do to get back in this game is start making threes. If they don't do that, they're going to have no chance. The other thing that Texas did in the second half against Miami was they started to foul the Hurricanes. Miami was getting to the foul line a lot because you look at the box score of that game. Miami shot 32 free throws, and Texas shot 15. And that hasn't happened so far in this game. So really, if UConn can avoid fouling Miami when Miami starts to get desperate and try to drive in the lane to get fouled, if they can avoid that, I think UConn will be in great shape to win, but they can't allow Miami to get to the foul line on a regular basis because Miami's going to hit their free throws. UConn is a really disciplined team, so I don't think they will foul as much as Texas did, but you can't let Miami get to the stripe. They're a great free throw shooting team. And if Miami starts to get hot from three, it can happen at any time. Because there's been several times this tournament where it looked like Miami was going to lose. That Texas game, even against Indiana, they had a stretch in the second half where they were down 3, but then Miami went on like a 12-0 run and just blew the game back open and they won. Did the same thing as Houston. They just blew it open against them as well. But they are definitely in a lot more, desperation mode in this game than they've been so far this tournament. They have a way bigger uphill climb than they've had most of this tournament. So I will say, I completely agree with you, James Scott. It's going to be very difficult for Miami to come back and win this game based on what UConn has done. But I don't think it's over by a long shot. I think Miami has enough depth and enough talent. And if Jim Larinaga can settle them down, they can start making some big shots in the second, like they have been all tournament, I don't think Miami's out of the game. But they have been playing very uncharacteristic basketball this tournament. They have played bad at times, which is something Miami has been able to avoid. And I think a lot of it's because UConn's size. You look at UConn. UConn's a basketball team that matches up really well with a lot of teams because they have the depth to be able to withstand that. They have the star power to be able to withstand other teams' star power. Dan Hurley's a great coach. I just think overall, UConn just has a really balanced team because a lot of teams rely way too much on post players, and some teams rely way too much on guard play. UConn is both. Sometimes I think they do rely a bit too much on their post players, but Tristan Newton around the halfway point of the first half started to play great basketball. The ECU transfer started to make some big shots in the latter part of the first half, and he started to get the ball really nice passes to his teammates. He was getting the other players involved on the offensive end. He had a nice pass to Joey Calcaterra down low. He was starting to get the ball to Adama Sanogo in really good positions, and Tristan Newton just started to break down Miami's defense, and they were doing a very good job, of being able to find a way to get the others involved. And I think that if you look at UConn as a team, when they're at their best, it's when all of their players are scoring the basketball. That is when they are at their best. And that's what Tristan Newton does. When he's playing well, UConn is one of the best teams in college basketball. And it's not because Tristan Newton is scoring, because he only averages 9.9 points per game. But he does average about 5 assists. And when he's passing the ball at a high level, then UConn becomes one of the best teams in the country in college basketball. And that's why they've been dominant this tournament, because he's had a great tournament. And he has a great stat line in this first half. I think he's got 7 points, 5 assists, 3 or 4 rebounds. That's exactly what UConn has needed him to do. It's not just about scoring, but it's about getting his teammates involved. And when UConn started to do that, then they started to pull away in this game. And I think that overall, if that continues for another 20 minutes, Miami's chances of being able to win this game are very, very slim. They're not going to have a great chance to win because UConn has the depth, they have the talent, and Tristan Newton's playing great. He's got 7 points, 3 rebounds, and 5 assists. He's the key. He's the reason UConn's winning. Because you look at Jordan Hawkins, he only has 3 points, and he's their second leading scorer. Jordan Hawkins averages 16 points per game. He's got 3. So he's not really doing much. He hit the first shot of the game, and he hasn't done anything since. But Tristan Newton has 7 points, 5 assists, getting his teammates involved. And you have Adama Sanogo and Donovan Klingman playing great defense down low because Miami gets a lot of layups. And they've gotten a couple. But Miami's missed more layups in this game than I've seen them miss in almost any game this season. And that's just due to the fact that the size advantage that UConn has. And Adama Sanogo moves his feet really well. And you also look at Donovan Klingman. For his size, he moves fairly well. And I think that that's what's going to make, Miami struggle in the second half as well. As long as Adama Sanogo and Donovan Klingman can continue to play the way they are, if they don't get tired. Fatigue is a key. If they get tired in the second half, I think that could help Miami because the guards are able to go longer without getting tired. But if UConn does get tired, then Miami will be able, I think, to have a chance to come back. It will be interesting to see, though. James Scott says, where Miami did see a lot of free line shots against Texas. Texas always began missing from the field. Had they made a few more baskets at the end of the game, might have gone the other way. For sure, but the free throw line was the key. Because you look at Miami, they were they were making all their free throws. They made most of them anyway. And they went to the line a lot more than Texas. I feel like if the free throw line was about the same, like if Texas and Miami shot around the same free throws, Texas wins. But just overall, looking at that game, Texas was making big shots and then they stopped. And then Miami just started to drive the basketball. They were getting fouled and they were making foul shots. And that really helped out the Hurricanes. I'm wondering if that's going to happen in this game or not. UConn has been really playing disciplined defense, but you have to keep it up for a full 40. Michael Williams, thanks for being here, Michael. He says Miami has them right where they want them. Jets are going to come out and say that like a hurricane. And that's the thing. That's what I'm wondering, Michael. You could be right. I've seen Miami do this before. They've been down, and then they just start making big shots. You never know. It's going to be really interesting to see because you look at a team like a Miami in the past. You can be down big, but then you can make a big run. They're almost like an NBA team in a way, even though they're clearly not because they don't have the size in the post like a lot of the best NBA teams. And there's just a lot of differences, but they're kind of like an NBA team in the aspect that they can come back because of the way they play. The 3-point line is so important to them. They make so many threes. And when they're knocking shots down, they're really tough to beat. And that's why Miami's here in the Final Four. Because all it would have taken was a bad game for Miami against one of their better opponents, and they would have already been out. Because they almost lost to Drake in round 1. In that game, Isaiah Wong had like 5 points, and Miami couldn't make a shot to save their life. They were really struggling. But then again, they got to the foul line, made some big free throws. I think they shot a lot more free throws than Drake because of that strategy. Drake was missing all their shots, and Miami squeaked by that one. But then when they played Indiana, when they played Houston, and then when they played Texas, they made shots, especially against Houston and Indiana. But then they hit a lot of free throws against Texas. That's why they've been able to win, because they're making shots, and they're doing the things necessary and that's required for them to move on in this tournament. They're making shots. They haven't had a bad game against a good team yet. And I would argue that this is the first game where they've looked kind of bad at times. In this first half, they have not had good possessions. They've looked rattled a lot. And I think UConn's, defensive style, the aggressiveness that they're playing with, the size advantage that they had has gotten to Miami at times in this first half. And if UConn can keep that up for another 20, then I think that the Huskies will be moving on to the national championship game. But Miami's going to have to find a way to be able to slow down UConn's dominance on the offensive end to be able to get back in this game. And then Miami on the offensive end is going to have to start making the shots and the plays that they have been all season. They're going to have to hit those layups. They've missed 9 layups in this first half. It's very uncharacteristic of Miami. UConn has been very good on the defensive end by making Miami's shots more difficult, and I think that's really helped out UConn in this game. James Scott says as well, I think what Miami should have done is when they were down 6 points and missed the shot, they should have called a timeout instead of attempting to force the basket because UConn broke it open there. Yeah, as a coach, that's a great point, James Scott. That is a great point, but I think as a coach, it's really tough to know when to call a timeout because you don't want to use it. You want to keep the timeout, but to your point, when you're in the first half, you're going to have to use it or lose it timeout anyway. If you get down by like 6 or 7 points and the game is starting to shift against you and it's going away from your favor, it's going to the other team, you got to make a timeout call. You have to find a way to make a change with your team. Say, hey, this isn't working. Let's calm it down. We're not getting things going our way. And if you call that timeout, then you can sell your guys down. Maybe it'll slow the other team down. You can change things up a bit and get right back in the game. It doesn't always work. Sometimes you call a timeout, it doesn't matter. The other team just keeps making shots and you can't. But to your point, I do think that when they were down 6, 7 points, maybe call that timeout and maybe try to sell the game down because UConn did start to blow it open and Miami did nothing to stop that. Miami was just rattled a little bit. They weren't making shots. UConn was hitting everything. They were hitting threes. They were starting to get in the lane. They were getting to the foul line. And once Tristan Newton got going in that first half and it stopped being the Adamas Finogo show, that made UConn much more dangerous because Miami cannot physically guard UConn's entire team. They can stop 1 or 2 of their players, but when they have to start keying on everybody because you have Tristan Newton with the capability of being able to set up the entire basketball team for buckets, that makes Miami's defense almost nil because UConn now can score in a variety of ways. Because Tristan Newton is the key. He's the head of the attack for UConn. But Miami, like I said before, their offensive style only works if they're making shots, and they're not right now. They're not making their threes. They're not hitting those layups. They're really struggling overall from the field. And that's not helping out their offense, because you look at UConn, they're not having to guard them as hard. They're still guarding them hard from three. They don't want them to get, going, but they're not having to be right on them. And one thing Miami does really well when they're making big threes is then they're able to draw fouls on those threes, because you're trying to close out. And then Miami's able to get 3 free throws. They do it a lot. And since UConn knows Miami's struggling, they're having to guard them, but they're having to stay maybe a step back, further back than they normally would be if Miami was hitting those threes. I think that's really benefiting UConn, because they're not having to key in as much on Miami at the three-point line. I think Miami is going to have to find a way to start making some shots. Because you look at the San Diego State Florida Atlantic game. They're showing the highlights of it right now. That game, Florida Atlantic was making shot after shot. And San Diego State was cold. But then in the second half, San Diego State started hitting big shots. They started getting to the foul line. They got back in the game. And then they were able, at 1 second left on the clock, hit a big shot. I mean, that is insane. 1 second left. Florida Atlantic was up the whole entire game. And then San Diego State, with 1 second left, takes a mid-range shot, Lamont Butler, and wins the game, 72-71. That game could have gone either way. Florida Atlantic had the game. But San Diego State, with 1 second left, hits the shot. And Lamont Butler, they show Lamont Butler's foot was only a half inch from being out of bounds. That just goes to show you sometimes it is a game of inches. And we're not even talking about football here. This is basketball. If Lamont Butler's foot had been out of bounds 1 more inch over, then San Diego State loses. Or if he shoots that ball and the clock's already expired, they lose the game. But it's crazy. I mean, San Diego State winning by 1 point over Florida Atlantic. So this game is not over yet. UConn is definitely dominating this game right now. 37-24 at the half. It's not looking good for the Miami Hurricanes. But you never know what's going to happen. This game is not over yet by a long shot. But it really should be interesting. It's been a lot of fun. The Final Four is delivered so far. And even if this game doesn't go down to the wire, the game we got between Florida Atlantic and San Diego State, you cannot beat that. That's an all-time classic game right there. Still so tough for the Florida Atlantic players and coaching staff and the fans. That was tough. But what a shot, seeing the joy of San Diego State hitting that big bucket at the end. But I think looking at this game again between UConn and Miami, it's not over until it's over. UConn's dominating, and if they go on like a big 7-0 run to start this second half, that'll be interesting for Miami, because then you're going to be down 20, and that could really, prevent Miami from being able to come back in this game. But if Miami's able to start hitting some shots early on, they can go on a 7-0 run, get back into the game, then you never know what might happen. I think that the game will not be over at that point, but we'll just have to wait and see. It will be interesting for sure. Right now, again, UConn with a very dominating lead, a dominating performance so far in this game, specifically by Adama Sanogo. But then Tristan Newton got things going in the latter part of the first half for UConn. But Miami, they have a lot of great players. Isaiah Wong, Jordan Miller, Nigel Pack, Norchad O'Meara, but they're just not hitting shots right now. But you never know when they might. Can't wait till it's too late. But if Miami can get things going before it's too late, they can get right back in the game. The deficit isn't too large. But it should be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to the second half. And whoever wins this game, it should make for a fantastic national championship game. If Miami wins, you're going to have a new champion for the first time ever. You're going to have a team that's never won it all, either Miami or San Diego State. Or if UConn wins, it's going to be a battle between a team that has 4 national championships, basically a blue blood in UConn, versus San Diego State, who's never won it before. So it should be a lot of fun. I think a lot of people are going to be excited for the national championship game, regardless of who wins this one. It should be a lot of fun. And even though college basketball is basically over almost, after these next 2 games, this game and the national championship game, college basketball is not over. Like, the games might be, but you have the transfer portal. And you've got all this other stuff going on right now, recruiting still. The transfer portal is insane. There's already been so much movement in the portal. I think it will be, really interesting overall to see what happens with that. The portal should be going on for about, the next month and a half. Players are making moves all across the country to other teams. And we'll start to get a look at what these teams might look like for next season. And we can start formulating who we think, should be the favorites to win it all next year. It's always so tough to predict that so far out. But the transfer portal will definitely make it interesting to see, especially a lot of these teams that have lost so much talent. Can they replace it in the portal? Can they get the right players, the right mix? And if they can, then these teams might be good for next year. James Scott says to me, only talk sports. He says, since the basketball tournament is wrapping up, will you be covering / recapping the spring football games? I'm not sure. I mean, I'm trying to figure out what's, I'm going to be covering right now. I probably will be talking about some of the basketball news with the portal. You got a lot of portal stuff going on. That should be interesting. I'm trying to figure that out. You got the NBA going on. Who knows? Might be able to do some of that. But yeah, I might talk about some of the football. I'm trying to keep tabs with football as well. It's definitely the off season, but it's not the way it used to be for sure. You look at even probably a little more than 5 years ago. Once the sport ended, you didn't talk about it. You didn't talk about college football after college football season ended. There was nothing to talk about. You didn't talk about college basketball when college basketball ended. It's crazy to think about now in this era that we're in. When the sport ends, when the season's over, we're still talking about it. We're still talking about the sport. We're still talking about college basketball in May and in April with the portal. We're still talking about college football basically all year round now. It's insane. And I just think that that's what makes doing sports coverage so awesome now, because you can talk about it all year long. It definitely gets especially tiring for some people that maybe want a break, but the sports news never ends. There's just so much stuff going on. But I'll definitely have to see what I'm going to be doing. James Scott, I'm sure that I'll try to mix it up between the sports, but it'll definitely be interesting. I'm looking forward to, still covering all these sports, even if it's starting to get into the off season. It's never over. Sports never ceases. There's still news everywhere. But I thank you, James Scott, and everyone else for being here, watching my videos, and watching these live streams as well. Thank you guys so much for your support. You guys have been amazing. Like the stream down below. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. Thanks for being here, everybody. You guys are awesome. And Michael Williams, he says Miami was definitely down against Texas for the whole entire game. 100% agree, Michael. That's like my biggest key with Miami. I feel like even though, they're down right now in this game, I just don't feel like they're out. They could be. You never know. It depends on how the game starts. The first 5 minutes of the second half. If UConn can just blow it open and get a, 20-point lead out of nowhere on Miami, and it might be too much to overcome. But if Miami just goes on a quick 7-0 run, Dan Hurley has to call a timeout, Miami's fans get back in it, you never know. We might have a classic on our hands. Because, again, we saw Florida Atlantic was up 14 in the second half on San Diego State. And that was in the second half. Halfway through the second half. And then San Diego State comes back and wins. Gonzaga was down 13 on UCLA. Gonzaga came back and won. So this 13-point lead for UConn is not insurmountable. And it's definitely not insurmountable. There's plenty of time for Miami to get back in this game, specifically with their style of play. I think will allow them to get back in the game. But the second half is about to be starting. We've got 20 more minutes of the Final Four. And then we're going to have whoever wins this game is going to be in the national championship game to face San Diego State. And that's going to be incredible. And they're showing right here Miami with the fewest first half points this season. That's unbelievable. I think that Miami, this is the fewest first half points they've had all year. A lot of times teams have a bad game. They only score like 19, 20 points. But you look at Miami, they're a team that can really score the basketball, so they usually don't have first halves like this. But you got to give a lot of credit to UConn. They made big shots in this game, and they defended Miami at a high level, and that's why they were able to build this lead and hold Miami to only 24 points because they defended at such a high level. But I do think that in this second half, the first 5 minutes of this second half are the most important minutes of the whole entire game for Miami because they have to close the gap. They have to get back in the game. They cannot allow UConn to blow this thing open. but it will be interesting. We're about to get the second half underway. Miami says trail by 13 with 13:29 remaining in the second half against Texas. Again, they outscored Texas 37-17 in the final 13 minutes of that game. This game is not over by a long shot. UConn will definitely have to keep their foot on the gas if they want to win. But the Huskies, they will have the ball first to start the second half. Alex Caravan will be inbounding to start the final 20 minutes of our 2023 Final Four. Jordan Hawkins with the basketball. Gets it to Tristan Newton. Miami, they're looking very aggressive and energetic on the defensive end to start, probably due to Jim Larinaga in the halftime locker room. And Adama Sanogo, he kicked down low, and now it's back out to Andre Jackson. To Sanogo, he loses it, but he gets it back, and he lays it in. And again, not the start you're looking for if you're a Miami fan. 39-24, Sanogo up to 15 points now. 19-20 to go in the second half. Miami only hit 2 of their last 14 field goals at the end of the first half. That is not good. Nigel Pack kicks in the corner to Wooga Poplar. Wooga Poplar's trying to drive on Jordan Hawkins, and it's a turnover. He loses the basketball out of bounds. Great defense by the UConn Huskies. The Huskies are now up by 15. But Adama Sanogo is dominating in this game with 15 points. He's hit 2 big threes, and he's playing great basketball. But UConn, 19 to go in the second half. Sanogo kicks to Tristan Newton. Newton now to Caravan, to Jackson. Caravan shoots a deep three, and he almost got it to fall, but it did not go in. Big break for Miami. 18:50 to go in the second. Wooga Poplar's driving down the floor. He takes a mid-range shot, and he is short. Right now, Miami just cannot get shots to fall. So uncharacteristic of the Hurricane. But the issue with Miami, they rely so much on jump shots, and when they're not falling, it is tough. And Wooga Poplar, 0 of 6 from the field in this game. He, in particular, really struggling from the field. Tristan Newton to Andre Jackson. Back to Newton, and Newton's driving in. And he takes almost a step-back jumper, but he kicks to Sanogo. And Sanogo takes the ball from the three-point line, drives in, and lays it in. 41-24, Sanogo up to 17 points. And again, there you go. UConn almost up to that 20, that danger zone that Miami cannot have. Omier down low. And Omier for 2. Big shot for Miami. 41-26. Under 18 to go in the second half. Andre Jackson with the basketball, but a really good start for UConn. Big response from Miami, getting the ball down low to Omier, but still a great start to the second half for the Huskies. Can't ask for a much better start to the half. And it's mostly been Sanogo on the block again, just like how the first half started with him scoring, even though they were both threes. But now Tristan Newton's driving in. He misses the layup, but Sanogo with the offensive rebound out to Caravan for 3. And Sanogo is working the glass. He kicks it outside to Caravan, and he's having a great game. It's a big, deep 30-foot 3 there, and UConn's now up by 18. UConn's hitting the shots Miami normally would. Nigel Pack with it to Isaiah Wong. He hasn't touched the basketball in a while. And Wong has it, trying to drive. And now Wooga Poplar, he almost gets the 3 to fall, but he still can't make a shot. And the ball's off Miami. UConn basketball. Buckeye Mike's here. Thanks for being here, Buckeye Mike. He said, I should have known to pick San Diego State betting-wise. Yeah, that was tough. That was a great game. Florida Atlantic had it. That's just one of those where it went down to the wire to the last shot. But what a game there. But right now, Miami in a pickle. UConn up by 18. 16:50 to go in the second, and the Huskies with the ball, with the big lead. Tristan Newton with the basketball. I mean, if you're UConn, you don't want to slow it down because I think Texas tried to do that against Miami, and then it hurt their offense. Jordan Hawkins just missed a 3. He gets the ball back, thought about taking the 3. He's driving in, and he gets fouled. So he'll have 2 free throws to try to extend this lead to 20. But I do think overall, looking at this game, UConn is definitely having their way right now. Miami is just not hitting shots. Miami is not getting stops. And now Jordan Hawkins hits the first. So it's up to a 19-point lead for UConn, 45-26. 16:36 to go in the second half. Jordan Hawkins with 4 points and 2 rebounds. He hasn't even had a lot of scoring in this game, but it hasn't mattered. His teammates have been fantastic. And he hits the second. And to James Scott's point, there's your 20. Again, UConn with a 20-point lead. That is not what Miami needed. Still so much time left. You never know. Still could be enough time for Miami, but it's not looking good. Bensley Joseph misses a shot. What a block by Jordan Hawkins on Norchad Omier. And now UConn's running the floor again. Jordan Hawkins for 3. He does miss. And Miami gets the rebound. That almost could have felt like a dagger, even though there's so much time left. Nigel Pack down the lane. He lays it in. 46-28. And Nigel Pack's trying to tie a shoe, but 16:04 to go in the second half. And UConn is rolling right now. It's unbelievable how they're playing right now to start the second half. It's a fantastic start. Buckeye Mike says, I need the under 149 on this game. Well, right now, that's looking like a possibility. Nigel Pack looks a little banged up. He turned his foot a little bit when he landed. It looked like he landed pretty good, and then it just kind of rolled after he hit the ground. But he's still in the game trying to tough it out. Hopefully he'll be all right. He's got 8 points. But UConn with an 18-point lead. 15:50 to go in the second half. And Tristan Newton trying to drive kind of a wild play, like he was trying to get it to Andre Jackson, but it's a turnover. Nigel Pack with it. Swings to Isaiah Wong in the corner. Wong thought about the 3 a couple times, but he pulls it back out. And Miami's only scored on 12 of their 39 possessions tonight. That is not good. Nigel Pack's driving. Kicks to Omier, and Omier is fouled. 15:32 to go in the second, and Miami will have some free throws coming out of the timeout. Buckeye Mike says, with 16:04, do you think we can even get 75 points the rest of the way? Well, I mean, UConn, if they keep making shots the way they are, I think they could. But I still think Miami, you never know, they could just start making shots. But they're not making shots right now. So it will be interesting to see. The way this game's going, it could be a game it's like 70-58 or something like that. UConn wins. But overall, it's too early. Way too early. Still 16 to go in the game. And I think Miami has way too much talent with their guards shooting the basketball. They could get out of this funk and start hitting shots. I think that is still a possibility. But they are definitely struggling on the offensive end. And it looks like they're trying to resort to the strategy that they did against Texas, try to drive, get to the foul line. That's something they did a lot against Texas. And if they do that in this game, they have a much bigger deficit here. But I do think that overall, you look at Miami, they're going to have to get going soon. They're going to have to get on it because they are running out of time. They're down by more than they were against Texas. They were down by 13 against Texas with 13 to go. They're down by 18 right now with 16 to go. So if they can get it down to around 10 with around 10 to go, they'll be fine. But UConn has shown the ability to continue to make shots. So it will be interesting to see what happens. It's going to be very interesting. I am looking forward to the finish of this game. Hopefully, Miami can make it a little interesting, but you never know. I don't think this game is over by a long shot. There's still so much time. Sorgy Story said, what's up, Jeffrey? Anthony Story Squad sending love. Thanks for being here, Sorgy Stories. This game right now is getting really interesting with UConn's big lead. Is it over? Is Miami done? I don't know. I think there's still enough time left, but you never know. It's getting interesting. UConn looks like the team to beat for sure in this tournament, especially if they can get by Miami. They'll definitely be favored against San Diego State, and they can win their 5th title, but you never know. There's still so much time left in this game, and Miami, they have the talent to get back in the game, but it will be interesting. But thanks for being here, Sorgy Stories. So much. Thanks for being here. Buckeye Mike says, 6:41 left in the game. Pelicans lead. Clippers 103.99 with the Pels. Oh, man. It's interesting with the NBA. It's so tough with the NBA. You never know what's going to happen. You can score so quick. There's so many results that happen with players hitting big shots. You can be down 10 with a minute and a half and come back and win. You just never know. John Jansen's here. Thanks for being here. Johnny says, Sorgy Ray. Thanks, everyone, for being here. Thank you, Sorgy Stories, for coming, watching the stream. It's been a really good game. Hasn't had the action of the first game with how close it was at the end between San Diego State and Florida Atlantic. San Diego State getting the win. But right now, UConn up by 18, but there's been a lot of high-flying action so far. It's been a great game. especially with UConn, the type shots they've made. And they said UConn is on a 27-9 run since the game was tied 19-19. Miami tied the game, but they were down big early, and then they just came back, tied the game. But UConn has been on a huge run since. They've dominated. Sonogo's played great. But Miami is at the foul line. Norchad Omier will have 2 free throws. 15:32 to go in the second half. And Norchad Omier does hit the first. So the lead is down to 17, 46-29. But UConn is definitely making big shots. The type shots Miami would normally hit, that's a key. If UConn can keep doing that, if they can just keep making big shots, then they will have a great chance to win. But you don't want to fall into the trap that Texas did and stop playing hard. And Jordan Hawkins, see, that's the thing. UConn's not doing what Texas is doing right now. Jordan Hawkins down the floor, quick trigger, and he knocks down the 3. 49-30 UConn, 15-15 to go in the second. That's a big shot. And Miami's only shooting 26% from the field. And this season, they've shot 48%, so way below their season average. Bensley Joseph, he knocks down the 3, and that is the Miami team that we are used to right there. Bensley Joseph hitting a big 3. He's not normally the biggest player to do that for Miami, but they have a big bench, a lot of depth, a lot of players that can knock down that 3 ball. And Isaiah Wong with the steal, and Isaiah Wong with the dunk. 49-35, 14-40 to go in the second. And now the lead's down to 14. And just like that, again, Miami's a team that can do that, though. They have the athletes and the speed to score quick. And a 9-3 run for Miami in the last 130. Andre Jackson with the ball. Swings over to Tristan Newton. Caravan, and he tried to get to Sonogo, but a steal. And now down the floor, Jordan Miller with the layup. And again, now it's down to 12. You see what I'm saying about Miami? They can get back in the game quickly. And it's now down to 12. The 20-point deficit is down to 12. A lot quicker than they needed to get it back. There's still plenty of time in this game. Buckeye Mike with some baseball scores. Thanks for the updates. James Scott says now it's getting interesting for sure. I mean, like you said, James Scott, UConn's not normally a team that gives up leads. And obviously they're still up 12, which is a big lead. But you see Miami just getting back in the game. They can make runs so quick. They have the team that's just capable of going on a big run really quickly. And that's what makes them so dangerous. No lead safe. I mean, if you're up by 20 with a minute left, you're going to beat Miami. But if you're up by 15 with 10 to go, I still don't think Miami's out of the game. They just have the capability of getting back in a game so quickly. Jackson says, wow, Miami's really having a rough night tonight. Yes, they are, Jackson. You're 100% correct. But the last 2 minutes or so, they're going on a big run, and they've cut the lead. The 20-point deficit's down to 12, and I think that was a really good timeout by Dan Hurley. He does not want to see his UConn team give up the lead. He watched that Texas game. He knows Miami can come back. And he wants his team to continue to score, continue to get stops. That's what UConn is going to have to do if they want to win. They're going to have to stop Miami, and they're going to have to continue to make shots, keep maintaining the lead, or try to grow the lead back out, and they'll be okay. But if you're Miami, keep doing what you're doing. Impact the game, get turnovers, get stops. That's what you're starting to do. They've had a couple turnovers on UConn, and now Miami's getting down the floor, getting some layups. They're making some shots now. Once Bensley Joseph hit that 3, it's like that 1-3. Miami needed a 1 shot, and then that just jump starts the rest of the team. It just boosts the rest of the team, and then they start making shots as well. That's the key for Miami. It is, it's an effect that goes through the whole entire team. It just 1 shot by 1 player, and it just impacts the rest of the team. They start making shots well. It gives them the confidence to be able to make big shots. And it will be interesting. Can UConn slow down the Miami run, get things back under control, or will Miami keep creeping closer and closer and make this a game as we go down the stretch? I would say the way it's looking right now, and Miami's going to make it interesting down the stretch, but you never know. UConn could regain form. Just a small little run by Miami. But again, Miami can go on a run really quickly. It's one of those things where, like, some teams you see, like the North Texas-Wisconsin NIT game, if anybody watched that, you look at Wisconsin was up by 8 on North Texas with 9 to go. North Texas went on a 10-0 run in 9 minutes, and they did win. But Wisconsin didn't score a point in the final 9 minutes of that game. Miami just went on an 11-3 run in a minute and a half. That's what they can do. So they can get back in the game so quickly. That's what makes them dangerous. And you see the field goals. They were 9 of 36 in the first half. Miami's 5 of 9 in the second half. They're starting to make shots. They've almost hit as many shots. They're over half the amount of shots that they made in the first half already in the second half. 14-18 to go, and it's 49-37. 7-0 run for Miami in the last 50 seconds. And Miami was down 13 on Texas in the last 13 minutes of the game. And they came back and won. They're only down 12 with 14 minutes to go, so they're right back in it. But UConn, will they be at Texas? Will they let Miami come back and win, or will UConn get the game back together? Tristan Newton with the basketball. 10 to go on the shot clock. You can tell there's more game pressure on UConn. Tristan Newton to Alex Caravan. Back to Newton. 2 seconds on the shot clock. Newton's going up, and Newton misses the shot, and Wong with the rebound. And a turnover. Back to UConn. A lot of contact on the floor, but no foul. But Wong lost the ball. Newton has it back out to Andre Jackson. 13:30 to go in the second. Back to Newton. And Newton's fouled on the drive. Jeff says Miami's trying for sure. Can UConn respond? That is the question. Can UConn respond? Texas did not once Miami went on their run. The fortunate thing for UConn is they had a 20-point lead. And now it's only down to 12. So they can go get back on a run. They'll be okay. But UConn does look a little rattled right now. Just a little bit. But Jordan Hawkins, he will be inbounding the basketball with 13:31 to go in the second half. He gets it to Andre Jackson. Out to Adama Sanogo. Jordan Hawkins being hounded by Norchad Omier. He gets it to Alex Caravan. Back to Jordan Hawkins. In the corner to Andre Jackson. Andre Jackson's driving and he misses the shot. But UConn with the offensive rebound. Down to Sanogo. And Sanogo for 2. And Tristan Newt keeping the ball alive on the weak side. His rebounding is key as well from the guard position. And Sanogo with a big bucket. 51-37 UConn. Huge shot for the Huskies. Sanogo with 19 points and 7 rebounds. He's 8 of 9 from the field. He's had an almost perfect game. Miami for 3 on the other end. And they knock it down. Harlan Beverly. See, it's not even your normal suspects here. You don't even have Jordan Miller or Nigel Packer or Isaiah Wong hitting threes. It's players like Harlan Beverly and Bensley Joseph. Miami's a deep team. They have a lot of players that can make shots, and it's down to 11. 51-40. 12:30 to go in the second. Andre Jackson with the basketball. Kicks to Jordan Hawkins. And Jordan Hawkins is fouled on a 3. That's normally what Miami does. Drawing fouls on 3s, but Harlan Beverly fouls Jordan Hawkins. That's a big mistake. Now UConn will have 3 free throws. That really hurts Miami's momentum. Jeff says good shot. For sure it was by Miami. But right now, UConn with an 11-point lead. Miami's starting to get back in the game. And a big mistake by the Hurricanes fouling Jordan Hawkins on the 3. He shoots the first free throw and it goes in. 52-40 UConn. 12:30 to go in the second half. And right now, I think Nigel Pack might be having some shoe problems. We're trying to get it fixed. But Jordan Hawkins, he shoots another free throw. Knocks it down, 53-40. So if he hits his last one, the lead's back up to 14 if he can hit it. And this could get Jordan Hawkins going because he has 10 points. He's only 2 of 6 from the field, but now he's 4-4 at the line. And a player like him, you don't want to get him going by hitting free throws. And he does miss the last free throw. So it's 53-40. 12:20 to go in the second half. And Miami with the basketball down by 13. Isaiah Wong with it. He's trying to drive. Isaiah Wong in the lane. He goes up with it and he knocks down the shot. 53-42. 12 to go in the second. Miami still creeping around, only down by 11. That's not an insurmountable lead, especially for the Hurricanes. Andre Jackson with the basketball. Miami on a 12-4 run in the last 3:09. In the corner, Alex Caravan with the basketball. Caravan goes up, and he almost got it to fall. Donovan Kleeman couldn't get it to go. Now Miami driving the floor again. Isaiah Wong, he shoots the 3, and Miami's only down by 8. Again, the Hurricanes getting back into the game. You felt they would. You knew they would almost. You never know what's going to happen, but Miami's just a team built for deficits. They can get back in the game. Doesn't mean they'll win. But that 20-point lead is down to 8, and there's still 11:20 to go in the second half. Andre Jackson with the ball for UConn. The Huskies look a bit rattled. Miami ratcheting up the defensive pressure. Almost another turnover. Caravan in the corner, and Alex Caravan misses. Donovan Kleeman, he gets the offensive rebound and lays it in. 55-45, 11 to go in the second half. UConn up by 10. Miami basketball, 10:50 to go in the second half. Isaiah Wong with the ball. He's trying to make a move. Isaiah Wong shoots a three, and it's no good. Donovan Kleeman with the rebound. And Wong tried to draw a foul. He did not get it. Good defense by UConn. Went straight up. But Joey Calcaterra with the basketball for the Huskies. Donovan Kleeman with it now. 10:30 to go in the second half. Still no under 12 timeout. Neither team is fouled. Jordan Hawkins in the corner to Andre Jackson. Back to Jordan Hawkins. And Hawkins for three. 58-45. 10-10 to go in the second half. UConn now back up by 13. See, that was the response the Huskies needed. Miami got back in the game, but UConn hit a couple big shots. Now the lead's back up to 13. Isaiah Wong with the ball. He kicks to Harlan Beverly, and Beverly misses a three, and Caravan with the rebound. So that was a big response. Miami got back in the game, but now UConn's starting to extend the lead again. What a response by the Huskies. 9:50 to go in the second half. Joey Calcaterra being hounded, and he gets fouled by Bensley Joseph. Bensley Joseph does not like it, but that definitely was a foul. 9:46 to go in the second half, and UConn's up by 13. The Huskies are definitely getting back ahead in this game, regaining control. Buckeyes has 95 points with 12 to go. He's really nervous on that 149. It's really interesting. Jeff says, clean up, big man. And Jeff says, UConn is smoking again. For sure. I mean, they're playing better basketball again. That's a sign of a great team. Or at least a team that is, playing together, playing with confidence. UConn looked a little riled for a minute, but they got things back under control. Miami started to come back. Miami was starting to show that, hey, we have a really good chance to win this game. We're starting to get back in it. We did the same thing against Texas. But now UConn's starting to make some shots. This game's still far from over. Still 9:46 to go. It's only a 13-point deficit. But if UConn does win the game, it's because when Miami got down by 8, UConn went on this little mini run to extend it back to double digits. That was huge. What a couple of possessions for the Huskies to get the lead back up to 13. And now it will be interesting to see what Miami can do outside of the timeout. UConn still has the basketball because Miami fouled. But it is going to be interesting, though. I think that overall it's looking good for UConn. Not out of the woods yet. You still got to score a lot more because Miami's capable of putting up a lot of points. But the Miami Hurricanes definitely missed an opportunity to get back in this game. They had cut it to 8. They had a lot of momentum, and then UConn had a couple big shots. But again, the Huskies are looking like a team that wants to win it all. They look like a team that feels like they're capable of winning it all, and that was a huge response. But still, 9:46 to go in the second half. Still plenty of time for the Hurricanes to hit some big threes and get back in this game. But I will say, if Miami's going to come back and win, it's going to take Nigel Pack and Isaiah Wong. Both players are cold. Even Jordan Miller. Those three players are what has gotten Miami to this point. None of them are having a great game. Not one of them. They are the key. All three of those players are so important for Miami, but they're not making shots. So it will be interesting to see, can they get going in the last 9:46, or will UConn keep dominating with Adama Sanogo and the rest of their players? Michael Williams, he says, Joe, I told you Miami had them right where they wanted them. My brother, yeah, I mean, for sure. But Miami's starting to give it away again. They had it. They were so close. They were down by 8, but UConn with the response. That was a great response by UConn. And now with only 9:46 left in the game, UConn is up 58-45, and UConn has the ball coming out of this timeout because of a foul by the Hurricanes on Bensley Joseph. And they're showing the shoes. The guy's running out there with Nigel Pack's shoes trying to get his shoes fixed. It's hilarious that they were showing. That was funny. It looks like his shoes are back in order, so hopefully for Miami, Nigel Pack, he's back on the floor now. The new and improved shoes. But the Hurricanes still down by 13. 9:40 to go in the second half. Alex Karaban with the basketball to Andre Jackson. And Andre Jackson, he loses the ball out of bounds, but they do call it off of Miami. So 9:35 to go in the second. 9 seconds on the shot clock. And it's still UConn basketball. Naheem Aline will be inbounding the Virginia Tech transfer. He tried a ball fake. Miami didn't bite on it. And Miami steals it. What a steal by Isaiah Wong. Nigel Pack with the ball, who's back in the game. Really good defense for Miami. Pack's trying to drive. But good defense from UConn. Not allowing Nigel Pack to get a blow by to the rim. Isaiah Wong, he's trying to drive. Now Donovan Klingman on him. And a turnover. Good defense from UConn. You cannot beat that defense. Isaiah Wong, in most situations, will be able to go up for that layup, but you've got Donovan Klingman in there. He's played a big role for UConn in this game, making life difficult on the Hurricanes with a 7'2" frame. But UConn with the ball now. 9:10 to go in the second half. Andre Jackson with the ball. UConn up by 13. In really good shape right now to win this game. They'll have to keep their foot on the gas. Naheem Aline with the ball back to Andre Jackson. UConn is starting to eat some clock. 10 to go on the shot clock. Naheem Aline for 3, and Naheem Aline cannot make the shot. Klingman almost gets the offensive rebound and putback, but he does get fouled. So another foul on Miami. Klingman with his big body getting that rebound. He almost got the tip in, but he gets fouled. Miami was swarming him, 3 guys down there trying to get the rebound on him, but he's just so tall. And he kept the ball above their head. But 8:52 to go in the second half, and UConn is up 13 still. Neither team is scoring a couple minutes. But Miami's going to have to change that soon. Miami needs a bucket quick. O'Meara has 3 fouls now. Alex Karaban, he kicks to Joey Calcaterra. UConn was such a deep basketball team with a lot of players that can fill it up on the offensive end, just like Miami. Karaban for 3, and his 3 goes in and out. But UConn has done a better job in this game. And Naheem Aline gets the offensive rebound, and Naheem Aline lays it in. 60-45. What a shot by UConn. Miami couldn't get the rebound. And a timeout by Jim Larinaga. Buckeye Mike says the Pels win. That's cool. But right now, UConn up 60-45 over Miami. 8:26 to go in the second half. And Jim Larinaga calls a timeout. He knows his team's in trouble. And it's getting really dicey right now. About out of time. There's still, I think, enough time for Miami to get back in the game. But you look at the way the Huskies are playing right now. They're not making mistakes, just like James Scott said earlier. James Scott is so great about telling one of the biggest Hurricanes in sports. Brian, he does not like Miami, I guess, because I guess he's a big Duke fan for sure. But I like Dick Vitale. He is a legend. Michael Williams is looking like Miami's starting to fade out. Yeah, Michael, they're not making shots. That's the biggest key for Miami. The reason why they've had success this tournament, outside of the Drake game where they didn't shoot well, but they didn't have to win that one, they have been struggling in this game to make shots. And all tournament long, they've made big shots. They made big shots against Indiana. They made big shots against Houston. And they made big shots against Texas. And that's why they're in the Final Four. They made big threes. They got to the free throw line. But overall, unfortunately, for Miami in this game, they're just not making shots. And UConn is. UConn is doing a great job. The Huskies are making big shot after big shot. And that's why UConn's up 60-45, because they're making big shots, something that Miami normally does. And UConn's playing great defense on Miami. The size advantage of Adama Sanogo and Donovan Klingman, they're guarding the Hurricanes so well in this game. They're not allowing them to get the easy layups that they're accustomed to in transition. They're really slowing them down in that regard. They're making Miami take tougher shots. Buckeye Mike says, Jeffrey, you can wait till after the game if you want, but what are your thoughts on women's title tomorrow? I think it should be a good game. I think if you look at Iowa, the way that they're playing, Caitlin Clark hitting big shot after big shot, Iowa can win that one if she has a big game. But Angel Reese is tough as well, and LSU has a deep team. I think they're a deeper team than Iowa, but if Caitlin Clark puts up 30, then I think Iowa will have a really good chance to win. I'll probably lean Iowa, but that game could go either way. It should be interesting. But right now, we've got UConn up by 15 over Miami. And the way this game's going, if UConn continues their high level of play, they will win, and they will go to the national championship game and play San Diego State and have a really good chance to win it all. But I think that it's going to be really interesting. Michael Williams and Jordan Miller has to wake up if going to win. I agree with you. He has not had a good game, and that's the key as well. The three stars for Miami, Isaiah Wong, Nigel Pack, and Jordan Miller have not had great games. Wong's starting to hit a couple shots, but overall, the stars for Miami have just not delivered. Buckeye likes, did you see Orlando finally win a game on taking down DC? Something told me they had a shot. Orlando's been playing better. DC, you just felt like eventually they drop a game. I picked DC, but yeah, overall, Orlando, they're actually starting to play better. Quentin Dormany's getting the job done. Good win for Orlando in the XFL to finally not have a undefeated team or a winless team anymore. Right now, 60-45. Miami down by 15. 8:20 to go in the second. Wong kicks to Bensley Joseph in the corner. Isaiah Wong has the basketball again. He's trying to make a move. He kicks in the corner. Jordan Miller, who definitely needs to wake up, as Michael Williams said, Miami's going to win, and he does not hit the shot, but Norchad Omier with the rebound, and he lays it in. Big offensive rebound from Norchad Omier. Miami's not had a lot of those in this game, something they've done really well in this tournament. They've done a really good job in this tournament of making sure that the other team cannot get rebounds. They've done a really good job on the offensive glass and on the defensive glass, but UConn's done a much better job with their size in this game. But now it's a big scrum on the floor, and they call a tie. Miami and UConn, there was about 5 players on the ground. And big scrum, and there's a tie with 7:37 to go. But Miami has the possession arrow, so it still helps the Hurricanes. Down by 13, 60-47. That was an incredible scrum on the floor. Both teams were going at it. But Miami does have the possession arrow, and they have the basketball. Still only down by 13, 7:30 to go in the second half. Not over yet. Jordan Miller kicks to Nigel Pack. Nigel Pack's driving into the lane, and Norchad Omier, he misses an easy layup. How did Norchad Omier not get that layup? He had it. Norchad Omier is a really good post player, and that's a shot he normally makes, and he'll want that one back. He just could not get it to drop. That's definitely a shot he should have made. But both teams were going at it for the rebound again. I think they call a foul on Norchad Omier, but it definitely looked like a top. I think they did call a top. And now Andre Jackson down the floor for a slam dunk. Andre Jackson down the floor. Miami did not recover on the defensive end, something they usually do because they have the speed. And what a dunk by Andre Jackson, and things are not looking good for Miami. 62-47 UConn, 7 to go in the second. Miami's going to have to make some shots and quick. They missed 12 layups in this game, I still think because of UConn's size, but it is not looking good for the Hurricanes. Omier down low, and Omier for 2. 62-49. Miami's cut it to 13 again, but there's only 6:40 left in the second half. UConn's playing really well in this game. They're doing all the right things on the offensive and defensive side of the floor. Tristan Newton kicks to Andre Jackson. 6:30 to go in the second half. Now it's over to Tristan Newton from Andre Jackson. Tristan Newton's had a really good game. He shoots a 3, and he does miss the shot. Miami with the ball. Jordan Miller kicks to Isaiah Wong, and Miami needs points quick. Wong down the floor. Out to Bensley Joseph, and Miami hits a 3, and just like that, it's back down to 10. Still not over yet. 6 to go in the second half. 62-52. UConn still in control of this game, but Miami's still hanging around, only down by 10 after that Bensley Joseph 3. He's hit a couple big shots in this game. Andre Jackson down low to Sanogo. Sanogo on the left block. And a steal by Isaiah Wong. How did he get that ball from Sanogo? And Wong down the floor. Good defense from Joey Calcaterra. And the ball is off of Miami. It's UConn basketball. What hustle by Joey Calcaterra. He kept the play alive and knocked it off of a Miami player. That's great hustle. That's what wins you basketball games right there. Long down the floor, he got it, and he knocked it off of Miami. That's incredible. What a great play. Long was driving down the floor, and he got his hand right on the basketball. And he's going to the bench for a well-deserved rest. That was a fantastic defensive play. 5:35 to go in the second half. UConn up 62-52. And again, UConn is out hustling Miami right now. They've done a great job. And Isaiah Wong's getting checked out on the sideline. Looks like he might have got hit a little bit. Hopefully he's okay, but he should be able to get back in this game. But right now, UConn is doing all the things necessary to win this game. The defensive effort by UConn has been incredible. I mean, they're doing all the right things. They're hustling. They're getting rebounds. They're not letting Miami get rebounds, something that a lot of teams allow Miami to do with their hustle. But UConn is out rebounding Miami. They're making more shots than Miami. They're just doing a great job. They're not fouling Miami like Texas did. Tristan Newton with the basketball, 5:20 to go in the second. Newton, Andre Jackson, back to Newton. I think UConn's eating a lot of clock, trying to get some good shots late in the possession. Sanogo with the blocking foul on Miami. Isaiah Wong gets called for a blocking foul. So UConn catches another break there. It could have been a charge, but maybe Wong wasn't set. Sanogo driving, and Isaiah Wong, yeah, he probably wasn't set, but you could have argued that that could have been an offense, but he was still moving. So it definitely is a blocking foul. 5:14 to go, and Andre Jackson gets the short two, and UConn back up by 12. Miami needs points quick. They're running out of time. Isaiah Wong with it. Back to Bensley Joseph. There's only 5 to go in the second half. Nigel Pack with the basketball. He's trying to drive and make a play. He gets it to Jordan Miller, and Jordan Miller on the block going up, and there is a foul. Finally, Miami draws the foul on UConn. Only UConn's second foul of the second half. Buckeye Mike says, outside of that, I think we're still even. Yeah, I'm still up 3 games on you in the XFL. That should be interesting to see what happens with that. Buckeye Mike says, breakaway dunk. Yeah, that was incredible by Andre Jackson. I think that both these teams are hustling, but UConn has definitely out-hustled Miami in this game. Jordan Miller with only 9 points and 9 rebounds. And he had 27 points against Texas. He just has not had the same level of game. Same type game. That has definitely helped out the Huskies, that one of Miami's best players has had a relatively poor game for his standards. He's averaging over 15 points per game this year, and now he has 11 points, but he had 27 against Texas. A big reason Miami won that game. But 64-54, UConn up 10, 4:40 to go in the second. We've seen bigger comebacks than this, so it's still not over yet. But if UConn can get to around 75 points, I think Miami, it will be tough for them to come back. But Miami just stole the ball from UConn. They get the ball back. Another turnover. Huskies have been a bit sloppy last couple of possessions, and that's not what you want to see if you're Dan Hurley. 4:30 to go in the second half, and Miami has the basketball. This game's not over yet. Bensley Joseph with the ball. He's actually had a solid game. He's hit a couple big shots. Now over to Jordan Miller. Miller's driving in, and Miller trying to go up. And another turnover for Miami. UConn basketball. That's a nice play right there. And Jordan Hawkins for 3. He misses, but he gets his own miss. Offensive rebound, something UConn's done a great job of in this game. And Alex Caravan goes up for 2 and 1. And that might have been the dagger, potentially. 4:05 to go. There's still time for Miami, I think. You never want to count out the Hurricanes in a game, but that's a big shot by Alex Caravan. What confidence to drive the basketball. He's primarily a three-point shooter. Take contact, get the 2 and 1. That is a huge play for UConn to stop the run by Miami. Big play. There's only 4:05 to go in the second half. And Alex Caravan, he has 8 points and 8 rebounds. He's been really solid in this game in other ways besides scoring the basketball, getting a lot of timely rebounds. That was a huge shot by Alex Caravan. They take Jordan Hawkins out, bring Naheem Aline back in. And Caravan, he does miss the free throw. That's a tough miss. but still a 12-point lead for UConn, 66-54, under 4 to go in the game. And Norchad Omier, he does draw a foul on UConn, so we're at the under 4 timeout. 66-54 UConn. Buckeye says 114 points is getting close, so he's definitely wanted to be under 149, but it should be interesting. I think right now Miami has shown to be a team that they have to make shots to win. Big, tough shots. They have to hit big threes, big mid-range shots, get to the foul line. They have not done that in this game. They're a great team, and they deserve to be in the Final Four. They've had a great run, but they've had a lot of great games back to back to back. They've hit a lot of big shots. They just have not done that in this game. And UConn has done a great defensive job in this game. They have been playing great defense. They've done a fantastic job on the offensive end, hitting big shots as well. I think that has been the big key for UConn in this game and throughout this tournament. They've been great on defense. That's why they've won these games by how much as they've done. Because you could be a great offensive team, but if you're not a good defensive team, you could be in a shootout and barely win. UConn's done a great job on the defensive end. Dan Hurley has got his team to believe on the defensive side of the ball, and that has been what has helped UConn win all these games by the amount that they have. And UConn's doing a good job on the offensive end. Have they had a spectacular offensive game? I wouldn't say that they have, but they have done a good enough job. That's been the key. So it will be interesting to see. Can UConn keep this up for the final 4 minutes? The final 4 minutes of the Final Four. It's not over yet. Still time for Miami, but they are running out of time. They need buckets quick. Jeff says he's doing good. When Buckeye asked him how he's doing, how about you? Mike says, other than being nervous, these bets have been pretty good. And Jeff says, I understand. That's why I don't do it. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. It definitely adds a level of intrigue to these games when you have money on the line. But still, there's nothing like just watching the game with no strings attached, no fan base attachments. You don't care who wins the game, and you just are watching a fun basketball game. To me, that is the best way to enjoy a game. No betting. You're not a fan of either team. You just watch the game. You're like, it don't matter who wins. I just want to watch a great game. And I think that San Diego State Florida Atlantic game was fantastic earlier. This has been a good game as well, but UConn has dominated mostly from wire to wire. And Miami has really struggled to make shots, which has been their downfall and their Achilles heel in this game. But you still never know. Still enough time for Miami to potentially make a last-minute comeback. But they're going to have to start making some shots now. UConn has been really impressive in this game. And San Diego State, if UConn wins, will have a tall task trying to slow them down. Buckeye Mike said, I know, but this is paying my bills this month. Well, I mean, whatever works, man. I mean, like I said, I just think that still there's nothing like watching a game without the bets on the line, man. But you do you, man. That's what you got to do. James Scott, thanks for being here again, James Scott. He says, this game is decided, but at least Miami didn't lay down take the way Gonzaga did. Yeah, Miami's trying. I mean, they're a team that for their size, they hustle. You got to give Miami tons of credit because they're such an undersized basketball team, but they play hard. But I think UConn's done a great job to counter that. They fed off of Miami's energy. Instead of wilting like other teams have against Miami's pressure, they've taken Miami's pressure head on. And they've done a great job. But Miami with the ball. 3 minutes to go. Nigel Pack took a mid-range 2, and he misses the shot. Alex Caravan with the rebound. This is when if you're UConn, you got to slow it down. And if you're Miami, you've got to make almost every shot from here on out. You got to hit them all. But UConn, just slow it down. Be smart with the ball. Don't turn it over. Sonogo to Newton. Down to Andre Jackson for the slam dunk. 68-54. Beautiful basketball by the Huskies. 3:34 to go in the second half. That's a great play. Buckeye Mike says, congrats to Miami. And yes, I'm upset with Florida Atlantic, but that was a Final Four game for the agent with San Diego State winning. It should make Monday quite a game. I agree for sure. I mean, you can't beat that game. There is no way unless, obviously, the team that you wanted to win lost, like if you were a fan of either team or what, or, again, had money on the line. That's a game that you just can't even be upset about. That was a fantastic game. Both teams played their heart out. It looked like the whole way that Florida Atlantic was going to win. But San Diego State won in the end on a shot with 1 second left. a clutch shot by Lamont Butler, and his foot was almost out of bounds. That was a Final Four game for the ages, a fantastic basketball game, and I will remember that one for a long time. I'm sure you guys will as well. That was a great game. This has been a good game too, and I'm looking forward to the national championship if it is UConn San Diego State, and I hope it's a great game. Very unconventional with a 4 seed and a 5 seed. That's just made this March Madness so interesting. It's been a great March Madness. It's upsetting. It's almost over, but we'll have next year. It's been an awesome March Madness all around. They're showing Miami. Isaiah Wong averaged 16 points. He has 12. Jordan Miller averages 15 points and has 11. Nigel Pack averages 13 and has 8. Norchad Omier averages 13 and he has 8. Everybody from Miami is doing less than what they normally do. And that's why Miami's not winning. And UConn's making big shot after big shot. But Larinaga, he called a timeout, but outside the timeout, Jordan Miller, he throws it away almost, but UConn with the steal. Now Andre Jackson smartly kicks the ball back out, and Naheem Aline with it now. 3:10 to go in the second half. UConn up by 14. Is Miami going to foul or just try to play straight-up defense? They're running out of time, though. Adama Sanogo kicks to Tristan Newton. And Newton with 8 seconds on the shot clock, running this shot clock down. 2:50 to go in the second. Alex Caravan with the ball to Adama Sanogo. He has to chunk up a 3, and he almost banked it in, but it did not fall. Isaiah Wong with the rebound to Bensley Joseph. What a block by Sanogo. And the ball is off the rim. It looked like Sanogo might have had basket interference, but it did not happen for Miami. UConn up by 14, 68-54, 2:30 to go in the second. And UConn is in cruise control right now. Just run the clock down. Miami is about out of time. 2:15 to go in the second. UConn definitely just needs to eat clock. Naheem Aline for 3. UConn does miss the 3. Sanogo with the rebound, and he lays it in, 70-54. And I'm about to say this game is about over. Miami is out of chances. They can't make shots. UConn is dominating. What a game by the Huskies. And Miami's missed 14 layups. If you hit some of those, then you have a really good chance to win this game if you're Miami. But they have not made their shots. And they do call a foul on UConn on a 3. Again, that's what Isaiah Wong is good at doing, drawing fouls on 3s. But UConn's done a great job on defense for the most part in this game. Buckeye Mike says, you can tell by the way UConn is playing off the turnovers that UConn just wants to run the clock and only shoot it last second. Yeah, it's smart basketball. You don't want to shoot it early. And Isaiah Wong, he does barely hit the first free throw, 70-55. James Scott said, at this point, it'll be a miracle for Miami to lose by less than double digits. Yeah, it's just not looking good. And Wong hits the second. G-Money says, what's up? Thanks for being here, G-Money. We don't have a classic like the first game with Florida Atlantic, San Diego State, but this has been a good game as well. UConn has done a great job on both ends of the floor. And Isaiah Wong, he does hit all 3 free throws. It's 70-57, 13-point game, 150 to go. Again, UConn just plays smart basketball. That was not a good foul to foul Isaiah Wong. But Tristan Newton brings the ball up the floor to Naheem Aline for the layup, 72-57, and Miami trying to double team, and UConn wisely getting the easy layup down the floor. Nigel Pack for 3. He misses. Sanogo with the rebound, and now Miami is really out of time now. 1:20 to go in the second half. Tristan Newton with the ball. He's played a great floor game. 1:20 to go. UConn up by 15. What a game by the Huskies, and it looks like UConn is going to the national championship game, and they deserve it. What a tournament run they've had. They've dominated every team they've played. Sanogo's driving in, and Sanogo gets fouled. Jeff says a couple lottery tickets a week for me. That's funny. And Buckeye said, we all have our habits. There's nothing wrong with the lottery route. Buckeye Mike says, ouch, Sanogo just got slapped in the face. That's tough. Norchad Omier, he was trying to stop him, but that's not a good foul by Omier. Yeah, you're trying to go for the block, and he almost got it, to be fair. But, yeah, that's a tough foul on Sanogo. He hit him pretty good. I don't think that's a really smart foul by Omier. Again, to his credit, he was trying to go for the block, and he almost had it, but that's tough. G-Money says, I really wanted Florida Atlantic to win, but they had a great run. Florida Atlantic deserves so much praise. Dusty May, former IU graduate, assistant manager, what a job he did. I mean, he's risen through the coaching ranks like everybody else, and he took Florida Atlantic to the Final Four, just like Shaka Smart did with VC back in 2011, just like Loyola Chicago. It's incredible, and Dusty May will always be in history with that Florida Atlantic team, and what a great job those players did. And they had a great chance to go to the national championship game, and they probably should have, but just fell short by a crazy ending, and what a shot by San Diego State. But UConn's taking out their players in Miami. The tears are starting to flow. It is always sad to see when you're on the losing side. But Sonogo misses both free throws, and the ball is off UConn. So it is Miami basketball, 1:05 to go. Buckeye Mike's, I saw the first day Columbus game live. Florida Atlantic, Philly days, both play their hearts out. They left it all on the floor. Yeah, those small teams, you love to see it. You love to see it for sure when they play so hard, and you want them to win so bad. 50 seconds left in the game. Miami shoots a three, and they miss again. They just can't make shots. That's the one thing that Miami has done all tournament long, except the Drake game, is make big shot after big shot. They could not do that in this game. UConn is just deliver. They play great defense, and Miami couldn't make shots. And sometimes Miami makes shots even when you're playing good defense. Not tonight. They just could not get going. Jeff says UConn moves on for sure. What a game by the Huskies. Dan Hurley should be really proud of his basketball team. They did a great job on both ends of the floor, on the defensive side and the offensive side. They were fantastic, and they deserve to win. You see a big smile from Bobby Hurley. So proud of his brother Dan getting this big win, going to the national championship game. What a big win for UConn. It's really showing UConn's back as a program. Dan Hurley's bringing UConn back to the Jim Calhoun levels, it seems. Really nice to see for UConn, but Jim Larinage's done great things at Miami. I don't think Miami will be done in the future, but Miami's definitely fallen short. 35 seconds left in this game, and UConn's going to run out the clock. What a performance from the Huskies. They dominated this game. They did a great job. A lot lower scoring of a game than a lot of people thought. But UConn, they did their due diligence. They did their due diligence on the defensive side of the floor. Keeping Miami off the glass, not letting them get second chance opportunities, not allowing Miami to get to the foul line a lot like Texas did. And they prevented Miami from hitting a lot of easy threes. Open threes. They really guarded them well, and Miami did not make their shots. And UConn is going to win this game 72-59. 5 seconds left in the game, and UConn's dribbling it out. Our Final Four is done. UConn with the 72-59 win over Miami, and UConn is in the national championship game. What a win for Dan Hurley. 5th national championship appearance in school history, all since 1999, and they've already got 4 national championships. What a win for UConn. Can they win another one over San Diego State? It's going to be really interesting, but what a game. UConn did a great job. And it was their defensive performance. It wasn't the offensive end is why they won. Yeah, they made a lot of big shots, and they were able to win because of that, but their defense was the key. You got to be so proud of the UConn defense. That's why they were able to win. They defended Miami so well. And you've got now UConn and San Diego State, 9:20 on CBS Monday night in the national championship game. That should be awesome. G-Money says, I'll be rooting for the Aztecs in the championship game. I don't think anyone's stopping UConn. I think Miami had the best chance to, and they couldn't even come that close. Well, I mean, the way UConn's playing, they're just playing so dominant. They're playing confidently. They're playing like a confident team that just doesn't feel like they're going to lose a game. They feel like they're going to win. They believe that they're going to win. And they're playing so hard, and they're not letting their, dominance get to them where they're like, oh, we're just going to easily win. They know they have to fight, and they're doing that. They're playing so hard and so well, and that is just a nice thing to see for UConn if you're a UConn fan, because UConn is not letting this get to their head. They're going through this tournament believing that they've got every game in their power to win as long as they play hard and they play well. Sonogo had 21 points, 10 rebounds, but it wasn't just him. His teammates stepped up. They did a fantastic job against Miami, slowing them down on the defensive end. That's why they've made it all the way to the national championship game. And if they play another great defensive game against San Diego State and can hold the Aztecs to a relative few amount of points, I think that UConn will be the national champions. Their defense is why. They've done such a great job on that end of the floor. Jeff says, great coverage as always. I enjoyed it. Thanks for the compliment, Jeff. Thanks for being here, everybody. You guys have all been amazing and awesome. Like the stream down below. Subscribe to the channel if you guys are new. But thanks, everyone, for being here. James Scott says, I don't think there's any question about it. San Diego State doesn't have what it takes. Of course, they're a solid team, and I can't see the Aztecs hanging with the Huskies. Yeah, it's going to be hard to see for sure. They could, though. It just depends on the way UConn plays. Jeff says, UConn's deep, and they don't look tired at all. The Aztecs will have a tough road against them. Yeah, it's going to be really interesting overall. But I do think if you look at these two teams, you know, UConn and Miami, it just goes to show that sometimes you need that post play. Miami had great guard play all year long. They've done a fantastic job. But I do think that UConn showed that you still need post play, but you still have to make big shots. UConn did a great job. Defense still wins championships. You need offense, but UConn's defense is why they won this game and all the games in the tournament. But what a win, 72-59 over Miami for UConn. What a 72-71 win for Florida Atlantic. Or for San Diego State over Florida Atlantic. What a win for San Diego State, 72-71 over the Owls. What a tough loss for Florida Atlantic. But we're going to have a national championship of UConn and San Diego State. It's going to be awesome. I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to definitely be doing that game. I hope you guys will all be there for that. I'll be live streaming the national championship game. It should be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it. But thanks to everyone for being here. You guys were amazing tonight. You guys are always amazing. And March Madness is delivered this year. We got one game left, the national championship game. It should be a lot of fun. I know everyone thinks that UConn's got in the bag, but you never know. San Diego State can make it interesting, but I'm looking forward to it. But thanks for being here, everybody. Like the stream down below. Subscribe to the channel if you guys are new. Share the stream out on social media. But thanks for being here, everybody. You guys were awesome. March Madness has been awesome, and I'm looking forward to seeing you guys, hopefully, for the national championship game. Thanks for being here, everybody.